All right, let's go ahead and get started. It's nearly 8:30, and again, Al will join us shortly. Let's stand for an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. Dear Lord, we just thank you for today that we can come together and discuss the upcoming budget for the new year. Just grant us wisdom, guidance, and direction making each of these decisions as we talk with department heads. Help us to be prudent with the resources we're provided and prudent with the services that we provide in return. We thank you for your presence here. We turn this meeting over to you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, today is the 20th of July, and it's 8:30 a.m., and we are gathered today for a few hours to begin our discussions with each department head regarding budget for the upcoming 2017-2018 year. First on our schedule here at 8:30 is the County Attorney's Office and Adult Probation. Here with us we have Shane Wynn from Adult Probation. Shane is in charge of our local operation here. And then we have Paul Lindsay is sitting in for John Mark, who is away on working. Where is he? In military duty, but where physically is he this week? Okay. And we lump these together primarily, if you'll recall, or if you may not know, there is some funds that are provided through a pretrial diversion program that provide funds for the use of both of these departments, and so these departments work together at determining how to divvy up that pretrial diversion money, and either one of you can shed some light on that if you care to choose to do so. But let's begin. Paul, I think you had some comments that you wanted to share with the commissioners that I'll just kind of turn that over to you.
John Mark had asked me if, for one of the things that he wanted me to make mention of is the Class C ticket program that we have, where we do a pretrial program for anyone who appeals the case to the county court. And so far this year, year to date, we've got $16,800 that have been put into that program. And it's a pretty successful program. I got a court date coming up on August 8th, and probably about 15 to 20 cases on it. So I expect to add probably another 2,000 or 3,000 to it by that date. And then we may have one more court date before the end of the fiscal year. So that program, I think, was budgeted at $15,000, but it's already over that. And hopefully we'll go to 20, maybe more. Work on that program. And
that includes just the Class Cs. That has nothing to do with Class Bs, Class As, right?
Right. So it's a pretty cumbersome program. We'll have to handle that prior to implementing the pretrial program, because we were getting cases brought in, and I know you're probably aware of it.
Well, just so these guys understand, this is a program that we created to specifically deal with class. What is the term?
Cs.
Well, but what's the terminology? CDL is the word I'm looking for. With right. CDL license holders who get tickets, and between John Mark and Paul and I, we worked out what we believe to be a suitable way of, I hate to use the word punishing these guys, but what's important to them is that they retain their CDL and not get too many points, and this gives them the opportunity to make a pretty stiff payment to the county and minimize the negative impact on their CDL license. And so obviously it's...
That's on page 94.
This is a source of revenue we didn't have, 2 years ago?
Right. And all of the money transferred over to the county attorney's department to cover payroll. So it goes to, it ends up helping to hold our tax rate down, because we usually find that fund is all. But you'll see received $115,000 for March 16,300, and we budgeted 15 transferred out to the general account.
But this pretrial money is not the monies that is shared with adult probation. This goes purely to the county attorney's office. Then we have so that's, again, we'll call that pretrial for Class C misdemeanors or traffic tickets. Then we have pretrial program also for criminal matters.
And it's the one right before this,
If you look on your sheet I gave you, it has the page numbers.
Fund number 33 is on page 92 and 93. And you can see we budgeted $26,000 in, and on the next page is the allocation, $21,000 out to county attorney, $5,000 out to the.
But we're running behind in our revenues there.
But you can see what they were the prior 2 years, so they should. Whatever reason, they would be about saying that the whole life's always working, so what 16 was, which was 24.8, and you showed what 15 was, which is 26.9.
Well, and that's not an indication that the county attorney's not doing their job. I don't know if that's good news or bad news that money is down. It is an expensive route for for somebody to go through. They have to hire an attorney to be on this pretrial program. Particularly, it's appealing to first-time offenders that get a DWI, that have a clean record. They're eligible for this. And so I don't know if we just have less people that are needing this as an option, or if we just have less people that can afford it. I'm not sure exactly what the reason is. I don't know that the number of new cases are necessarily significantly down, but
Just on our part, we see a trend of misdemeanor cases just kind of leveling out, not really picking up, basically staying the same. That's been the trend for the past several months.
well, either way.
Well, there's a lot of people that can afford it to do a pretrial for the reason that you have to hire the regulations to do the pretrial, and you have to hire an attorney. There's a lot of people that can't afford one to begin with, and so it's easier for them to afford appointed one. The other reason is some of them is they're offenders. I mean,
They're not eligible.
They're not eligible, they're not eligible for it. So that's another reason why.
Well, now, when I say a trend, I say overall state trend for misdemeanor.
Not just here.
Yeah, not just.
Not just
Yeah, I'm not pushing it all on you, but that's the overall trend for the cases now. They're just kind of leveling off for the whole state.
Well, so I don't know how to budget this upcoming year. I don't think I would go as high as that 2017 budgeted amount.
Again, also, if you flip back over to page 14, you'll see where these money's coming in. Also.
Here's our, yeah.
That is the county attorney department. And you'll see those negative numbers, it's 35,000, and it's, for state reimbursement part of the salary. And then a little further down, you'll see the 21,000, that we just talked about, 21 to 5 to the probation. A little lower down, you'll see the 15,000 for the Class C. So that's where those funds come in to offset the expenses of those departments, of that department in particular. But, yeah, I'll probably lower it down to 20. But we'll lower it, the expenses stay the same, we're picking up a larger portion
Okay.
for the general county side.
All right, Paul, go ahead. Did you want to go ahead and present to these?
There's a couple of other issues. One I wanted to mention to you, and I passed this out, is the new law on court security officers and the mandate from this legislative session, it's already been signed by the governor, that within the next year, you're going to have to certify all these bailiffs that come to your court. And it's municipal, JP, district court, county court, are going to have that certification. And I know y'all had approved a school for me in September, and I may be the first one in the county that's going to go to this, but it's like a 40-hour school. When you're talking about having to certify all of those officers, and it's required by the sheriff or whatever law enforcement agency to make sure that these guys carry that certification within the next year or so. you're talking about some money to do that. And I just wanted to make
Additional
sure.
certification besides being a law enforcement officer.
I looked at a copy of this right there.
It's a perfect example of an unfunded mandate.
It is
where the-
definitely
where
an
the state
unfunded
tells
mandate.
us, we've got, how many different guys serve as a bailiff, Paul?
Do I?
How many different people in this county serve as a bailiff?
Well, you look at the constables, I mean, all of those guys.
10?
Serve 10, 15, maybe 20.
And here we are talking about sending all of these people to school. We've got to figure out some more affordable way to do this.
They set the county up in kind of a liability situation where, let's say you've got half of them certified, half of them don't, and one of those guys inadvertently, it should have already been certified, but he makes a mistake in the courtroom. It really does set up a liability for the county, or any entity that's utilizing these guys as bailiffs. I've never had any bailiff training. I've been in law enforcement for 35 years. Nobody ever sent me to a bailiff school, mainly because it just wasn't available and that sort of thing. But I'm going to get trained on it now.
Is it a one-time training or is this every?
It's a certification, so I'm assuming that, yeah, it is a one-time certification, but I bet you it's just like any other commissioned officer. You'll probably have a 4-hour follow-up that you can do. I'm hoping that TPOs, who is the state organization that puts together the certification requirements, will come up with some sort of train-the-trainer course where the sheriff or the constable can send a guy, let him get him certified, and that's not in the law. I'm just saying that's what it ought to be. Get him certified so he can come back here and train your bailiffs, so you don't have to send them all off to school somewhere. That makes more sense than anything, but you're not going to read that in the law. So anyway, I just wanted, but you do have a year to get it done from the first day he serves as a bailiff. You got an anniversary date that he's got to comply with. So I know Ken Wilson's going to be going. I know you're going to hear from the constables about it because they've read it. I took it over there to them the other day. This information was given to me by Ken. But anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know that that's out there and that could impact our budget. Certainly.
Well, his, I went ahead and coded it to the courthouse fund, but if this.
Courthouse security fund.
Courthouse security fund. But, I mean, it should fall.
I don't know if it's bailiffs, all of it.
If it's for training, if it's for training for bailiffs, it ought to qualify.
I'll qualify to be paid out of the street.
Well, that's what I was fixing to ask. If it if that's security, I don't know why you put it
It's
down.
for training. I think it includes that in the law, that you can train for that.
How much is in our security fund?
80,000.
We have about 75,000.
Yeah.
And then we reported that
We,
the JP's got a court security too, and we could, if it comes this one lower, we could take some of that for the constables because they go over there as well, so. Just how you.
True.
It can be funded outside the general budget, I think.
what is your schooling costing? I don't remember. I remember us
We
passing.
just brought up something that was 1,600.
It's 400 for the registration. And 1,600 total if you send me, I'm going to Austin, I'm going in my private vehicle. Yeah.
Whole week?
40 hours.
It's a 40-hour school. I got to take 200 rounds of ammunition, I'll pay for that. Apparently we're going to do a lot of shooting down there.
It really just upsets you for them to set that up and not pay for it.
Well, I could see if you weren't already a law enforcement officer, but if you're a law enforcement officer, I don't see the need.
That's what Chris Durant said. He couldn't believe that maybe it was talking about non-commissioned officers or something. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about. I'm going to mention this because I attached a job description for the county investigator that basically lays out what I do, my duties and everything. You can look at it if you want to. It's been an issue for 4 or 5 years where they talk about the fact that, or not everybody, but there's been talk about the fact that maybe we didn't need it as a county investigator. So if you want to look at that,
I don't know.
nobody's ever asked me what I did.
You might give a brief description for these guys, what you do, just so they understand, and tell them who the players are in your office at this time.
Okay, Mister. She's our primary legal assistant, legal assistant. And then we got Jessica, we just hired Jessica. Jessica does a lot of the paperwork down there. She does a lot of the check stuff. She's learning. Esther's doing a real good job of training her. She seems like she's a pretty sharp gal, and she's going to be able to do that. Besides being the bailiff for the county court, I also do some security work for the entire complex. I substitute bailiff work for the CPS court. Now, since Ken has changed the security over there, I haven't had to do that anymore. So I don't know if I'm going to continue doing that. That was one day a month I was having to go over there and pretty much do that for Ken. But that's one of the jobs. I'm also the intake officer for the county attorney. We do anywhere from 900 to 1,000 Class A and B misdemeanor cases. That's DWIs, assaults, everything you can think of. And they come in two different ways. They come in hard copy from the agency itself, and then they email me the stuff that they can scan and email. I have to put those cases together and I enter them into a tracking system. Usually, out of 10 cases, there'll be 4 of them that have missing evidence. I got to get back to the agency and get them to get me the rest of the case, whether it's video statements and those kind of things. And then once the thing is complete, I review the warrant requests and those cases for completeness. And then
In those agencies, sheriff's office, police department, DPS, who else could it be?
well, it used to be Winfield, but at least every other case theirs wasn't complete, but it's no longer Winfield. So it's those 3 entities that I get it from. Let's see, I do the discovery, the video discovery, which is anywhere from 50 to 100 DVDs per docket. And y'all, really neat little DVD duplicator that we got out of some funds from the district court's office over there for incident fund, I think it was. And now I can kind of do them a little faster and they don't tie my computer up to do it, but it takes a lot of time to do those DVDs.
But essentially, you filter all cases for John Mark and enable him to make a decision as to what's going to be pursued, what's not going to be pursued, whether something is suitable for trial, and how to best handle it. Paul's the one really that analyzes each of those cases.
I'll do a cover letter for all of them. Okay, did I do the Class C misdemeanors, pretrial cases? That takes a lot of time. I also prepare that docket, and then I do the jury trial docket. We've got a couple of jury trials we're trying to put together. You cannot believe the number of problems you have putting together a jury trial, but you have to deal with attorneys, that is part of it. Then I assist with the hot check cases, but mostly Esther and Jessica handle the hot checks. There is occasion where I write a letter, or I have to call these people myself, but for the most part, Esther and Jessica handle that. I do grand jury subpoenas, prepare them, deliver them, I serve all the CPS citations, and I make arrests and do whatever else John Mark needs me to do. So that's it. It's a good job. It's a busy job, though. And which leads me to my next topic, the net data system.
Can we just go ahead and get Shane before we
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
I'm sorry.
That'd be good.
He may not.
I'm going to go first.
I don't have much. I mean, our budget really doesn't change.
We give him 1,000, their department 1,000 a year.
We just essentially use it for office supplies, and just, I use some of it for a drop box the other day, so.
And that's
Your portion of the pretrial diversion money that's not related to.
No, he has a general county $1,000 budget, and then the 5,000 after pretrial, and we just pay.
Okay, I thought that 1,000 sounded a little low.
Yeah.
Still, we're going to leave it at 5,000.
Because they've never come close to spending that, but they're making it day when they need to.
Okay. All right. No changes for you then.
No change.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shane.
How's that new door working out for you that we built you?
It's nice. I like it. Just get it painted and stuff.
One thing while Shane is here, I'd like to mention. Their video system is standalone, and there's some problems with Dennis and them being able to access that because they have a lot of records that are held by the county. And I dealt with your previous boss, and we talked about doing it, but we never did. what would be wonderful if you could ever bring that system online where the sheriff, not necessarily me and not necessarily anybody else, could monitor that video in case there's a problem in probation's office. Otherwise, the only one that's going to be able to see it is Shane, and he's got the problem. So it's just a good idea if there was ability for us to share that. And there is a problem with trying to do it, and I don't know if your IT people can ever work that out or what the deal is, because I didn't deal with you.
Yeah, that's something I've heard of.
Yeah. But it'd be really nice if somebody could access that video if they ever needed to do it. If there was a problem in there, or somebody with their...
It seems to me that Dennis would have suggested that when he installed that. What's the hurdle there?
Their system is a state system, and my understanding is that it's their IT people that have a problem with allowing somebody to access that like that. And I don't know if that can be worked out. It may not can be, but if you ever did have an active shooter or somebody in there that's taking a hostage or whatever, you've got plenty of criminals coming there, that's for sure, then you wouldn't be able to see what's going on in there. Here, it would be completely different. Anybody, any one of the stations could look and see what's going on in this courtroom right now. And that might be important someday.
Well, I think that's a question for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just have to look into it.
Look, yeah, talk to your previous guy and see what he said. Because he wanted it, he did, but there was some problems.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into it.
We can see if the security funds pay whatever.
Well, the first hurdle is, are they willing to allow those cameras to be on our countywide system where Paul can look at it, sheriff can see what's going on there? They may not be allowed to do that.
You can narrow that focus, and you can make it where the sheriff can be the only one that accesses it. I mean, I don't think that was not the problem before. It was the access to the computer system.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, net data. This is an important topic here. So
The Titus County Attorney's Office is really the only one here in Titus County that doesn't have this net data system for their traditional case management. And so we're not able to share information with, say, the clerk's office or the auditor's office. We're not able to pull in data to do like the information complaints that I do, the judgments, a lot of the case management when it comes to dockets. And we're not able to do that because all we have is like a read-only system. And when we reject a case, I mean, the only way I can get to advise the jail that we no longer want this guy is I have to send an email to the lieutenant over there and get him to enter that information for me, because we can't enter into that. I've talked to Joan, I've talked to some of the people in the clerk's office, and we talked to some people over Hopkins County as to how that system works for them. We are going this afternoon to just a presentation by NetData to give us an idea on what all this system will do and what all this, how it will save us. Anyway, so on the second page of this net data program, there's a one-time application fee of $20,000, and there's a $6,000 maintenance fee, annual maintenance fee. That system can be bought by itself. You also notice there's a training fee. Well, that's only if they come on site and do the training, correct?
That's correct.
That we would have to pay that, otherwise we wouldn't pay that. There's also a hot check application that we can buy for $12,500. It's a much more sophisticated system than we currently use, and there's also a training fee for that. But once again, we think we could bypass the training fee by simply going to Hopkins County and doing our training there. I'm going to know a lot more about this system after 2 o'clock this afternoon, but we could not get in there to see this. John Mark has been corresponding with Esther. He's for it. He believes it'll save us a lot of time. He believes it will increase our accuracy, and it'll be just a much better way to manage our docket. It's a process when you're talking about 100 new cases each month coming in, and in each day, there's a different process for them that has moved from one place to the next. Whether you're doing in-jail cases or whether you're doing cases where there's multiple offenses, where the guy gets out one day, gets arrested the next, you got to put those cases together, and we believe this system, this case management system, will help us do that. And we won't miss cases when they come to court and find out it just got arrested last week, the same thing. But anyway.
And when you go today, will you please, my biggest question is, what is the difference in the upfront money versus the annual continuing money? You know, it's one thing to pay these huge sums one time to get it set up, but I want to know what that annual cost is going to be if we were to turn that data on in your office.
The management, the maintenance fees?
Whatever you call it, what we have to write a check for each year after we set it up in 2000.
It should be 6,000 and 3,000.
Well, that's cheaper than what I expected. If you'll just please confirm that, because I always thought it was more than that. And I think that this is a decision that has been talked about for years, but nobody's ever pulled the trigger on it. But in my opinion, it would be like taking my email away. If I had to rely on, you know, picking up the phone and walk into every department to confirm everything that I'm doing rather than being able to utilize email, I think it's that critical to your department as a time saver, as an efficiency tool. But
It links to JP's, I mean,
It also, another thing, it was more money. That was absolutely true.
it used to be more
It
money.
used to be more money. I have been working on getting with everybody in the same system because we really actually do need it for already 2.5 years. That's how long I've been working here. What happened was the guy, the sales guy, I think I was telling him, we really do need the system. Our county cannot afford it and we cannot jump over it. That's the truth. He's been working with us, giving us a deal. This is like the third year that he's worked with us, and even cut the price even more than what he did last year. As a matter of fact, today, I called him yesterday and I said, when we go to training today, please expect me to ask once again for you to give us a better deal to enable for my office to jump on board. Because we cannot see the first breaker. We cannot see their notes. We cannot see the JP's notes. We had a guy last week that had a warrant at the JP's office. He came in. He paid for a hard check. But he owed them money as well. And it was for the same check. Their fees were more than ours. And the guy still had a warrant, but I could not see that he had a warrant. That's the kind of mistake that we're making. So that I can see if he pays to take his money, but once he's in the office, guess what? He still has a warrant. We couldn't pull the warrant because I cannot see who has the warrant, who doesn't, because I'm not on this system.
Well, I don't know why John Mark hadn't pushed for this earlier, other than the fact that he's not the one that has to deal with the level of detail that the two of you have to deal with. I think this is important. Please confirm these prices and verify that what you think this system will do, it'll do. And then I want the court to consider making the commitment to this upfront cost and this annual cost to get the attorney's office on that data.
and I'm going to go with them this afternoon too, since I know what the county clerk is like on my auditing and JP's. So I know when I'm going to tell them I want access from the very beginning so we don't have any trouble.
Yeah.
Like we've had in the past, so I'm just going to.
But Carl, if you would tentatively make a note there for these upfront expenses there to get this going. I mean, this is a huge amount of money, but.
That would show up over with all the other computer stuff.
So it wouldn't go on his budget.
Like the kids that be over here, 503.
Like our agreement now.
We get, have it.
It's.
That data sets the deal, they charge about that much for every office. We pay them $125 a year.
$157,000, right, from the 2017 budget.
Here's what the software, the annual maintenance. So there's $9,000 which we add on that. You can see all of them. Officers, they're charging us $32,000 a year, which is an annual tax. But you have to have the software. You don't have to use that data. You can use, but I think we all know how much, you better be real sure it's worth it, because you're going to spend a lot of money.
Making a conversion. You know, we're not prepared to do that, but let's tentatively put that in your notes to add this, one time there on page 20 of your big thick budget is where we're talking about. So that wouldn't get directly on your account, but I wanted you all to hear about these needs that are significant impact.
And the only reason I would put it there, Tim, is because I don't put anybody else in it. That's on page 20, that's all I'm doing.
Okay. All right, Paul, what else?
That's all I've got, Judge.
Any questions for Paul or Esther?
Well, I'd like to thank the commissioners and the judge for y'all's time, and appreciate y'all considering some of these things.
Thank you. Let me know what you find out this afternoon. Who all's going, both of you or just you?
Us three.
All three of you, okay.
Right over there.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, running a little behind. Next up, Lou Ann, good morning.
Good morning.
Looks like your primary change to your budget, you're asking for some equality in travel allowance. Tell us about that.
Okay, our positions are, the ag and FCS positions are considered equally. That's been really one of
What does FCS mean?
family consumer science.
Okay.
Both positions, and that's been kind of a misconception on a lot of people. I think the ag agent is the boss or whatever, but it's an equal position, and we travel equally.
Okay. Who are these two positions?
One's vacant. Kenny's position, the ag position is vacant.
What's the latest on that?
The latest is the governor has lifted the freeze on hiring. And at this time, the counties who have been vacant longer, which is, some of them it's been 2 years, for example, Bowie County, have been posted. So I'm looking at possibly September, they'll post the ad.
Of this year?
Of this year. They'll post it. And it usually takes 60, 90 days to get anything after that.
Okay. Will there be a change in your title, or we're strictly replacing Kenny?
It would not change my title. It would be hiring an ag position, which, like I said, we're equal positions. For example, usually whatever agent is there longer is usually has the title of county coordinator, and the other one has the youth coordinator. Means nothing other than you have responsibilities of getting certain reports done for the whole office. So it's really that.
This is on page 43 of your
And these dollar amounts are fixed. In other words, you don't report actual mileage for reimbursement.
Correct. And I do keep my mileage just because I do it for personal reasons. And if I do go over my mileage, which I have, I would use those to report them for income tax purposes. But Kenny and I have been fortunate enough, we've been able to share, and I don't intend to share a hotel room with, an ag agent coming in, but we've been able to share that. But we have equal travel as far, we do the same. We go out and do programs, we go to Dallas, we go to College Station, Gainesville. And so like as of now, January through July, and I went to estimated the rest of this month is about 8,000 miles I've already documented.
So is that not adequately covered by that 4,200?
No.
How so?
Well, because it would be, well, I run out of money. You know, for the mileage, I don't have enough money for my mileage, and I don't ever turn in a hotel. Like I have 9 hotels. I include that in my travel a lot of time. I think I only turn in maybe every other year a hotel bill. I'm not really sure. Usually it's in February. This year I was able to get a.
Well, I'm just specifically asking you about auto allowance. We've got it budgeted for $12,000. We've spent $5,100. That's primarily because of Kenny's retirement is why it's down. But you're saying on here right now the ag position is budgeted for $7,800 and your position is budgeted for $4,200.
Correct.
And so by the end of the 12-month cycle, you say you've already got 8,000 miles. Well, at our current reimbursement rate, that'd be roughly that figure right there.
Well, that's up through July.
What's it going to be by the end of the year?
13,000 miles.
Okay.
Plus, like I said, I know that as far as mileage goes, I include like my hotel and my meals. That's the reason why I don't turn in hotel and meals.
So far this year, she's turned in $225.23.
And that was,
And that just her total training seminars.
But what does that have to do with auto
Well,
allowance?
she's trying to exclude, she's explaining those.
I have included that in as my expense. I didn't realize the two maybe, I rarely turn in other expenses because I use it. I didn't know the auto allowance. When I came from Franklin County, all that was in one, travel was all in one budget. And so unless I went over, I usually don't.
So there's not any other additional budget other than auto allowance for her travel is what you're saying?
Right, she probably didn't realize that we paid to travel out of county.
Right.
She thought that she was paying all of the travel, that 42.
Okay. So again, you're asking for the second position, FCS, to go from 4,200 to 7,800?
Correct.
Is that what you're requesting?
Correct.
And is that to cover just mileage, or are you expecting that to cover more than just mileage?
It would be mileage and some of my hotel. I think it should cover, like I've already stayed in the hotel 9 times this year, and I haven't turned, 7 times. I've already turned it in. Right.
I think those need to be separated. I think that needs to be separated. I think we need to pay you so much for mileage. You go on trips, you want the county, you go to the hotels. What do you do like we do everybody else? I think I'll explain.
Within this department or not?
You can do it in this department, you can pay it out of travel and seminars. You want to pay everybody else, it's out of that question. A long time ago, we put everybody's travel and seminars into different departments. We can go back to do it.
And Al requested, I went yesterday, so I have it recorded. He wanted to know specifically the detail of that, because we talked about maybe get back in each person's office money. So I did a spreadsheet from October till yesterday, and what I was doing, I allocated how much each office, and I did a summary page, and I made a copy for all of y'all to see where we're at. There's no way, I had it on a spreadsheet, so when we get to that discussion, I have some information.
So I think you need to separate the two here. I think you need to figure out what knowledge you want to pay her. And if you want to put some money in the seminar. My only question now would be this is, you need kind of office because you do get paid by tax day.
Correct.
So they give you any money to help cover for any of that other stuff?
Zero.
one less seat, maybe one less bill to the football team, and maybe pay some people.
Well, that's not our decision.
I understand that, it's very frustrating.
But you haven't been pulling anything else out of auto allowance other than just auto
No,
allowance?
it's on a recurring, they get paid, it's set up.
Okay.
It's strictly that.
And then I just keep my record for personal of how many miles.
Okay. Well, if we raise that up to 7,800, what's our current reimbursement rate on mileage?
About
53 and a half.
52 cents changes in IRS rate.
So if we raise it to 7,800,
That's going to be about 16,000, 17,000 miles.
15,000. 15,000. So you got to travel 15,000.
Probably not, I would just include, like I said, I would have to figure out how much.
But you said you thought you'd be about 12,000 here by the end of the 12-month
Yes.
period.
Well, what you could do is like the commissioners do, you could just turn in your mileage, we can rush you your mileage like we do with the commissioners now, and then turn in your travel request like the officers do. You'll just pay actual expenses. Probably be a cleaner way to do it. That's but you're keeping track of it all.
I am, and I don't do it 100%, I mean, you know, like every time I leave, you know, like when I leave here, I'm going to Staples for, pick up 4-H banners, and then Super One to pick up for a program at noon, so, like, to be honest, I guesstimate, well, I'm 1 year here and here, I know what mileage is on that.
Well, 12,000 miles at 52 cents would be $6,240. What if we went to a figure closer to that? I hate to impose that, you know, keeping track of your mileage if that's not necessarily the best way to do it. You know, for a department that runs that many miles, that does become cumbersome. I don't know, what do y'all think?
Well, and for example, like I will, I don't pull a trailer, so I'm gonna, in October, have to get somebody to go to Dallas with me to pick up this string trailer for a program and then take it back. So I will pay them gas, you know, out of my pocket, for their mileage, because I can't pull a trailer. So I mean, stuff like that, I consider that my mileage. I write that down as mileage. Even though when I'm paying somebody's gas, I'm paying somebody's gas.
Okay. All right. Well, I do want to get out of the habit of paying a larger figure than is necessary for that department. You know, the best way to do it would be keep track of your actual mileage, and you know you're getting paid for it. Otherwise, take your best guess on an estimate, and let's pay something that's designed to equate to that. And if you want to pull in that extra miles for pulling that trailer, I think that's reasonable to pay for that mileage that you're having to give somebody else more than just gas money, or are you just giving them gas money?
Usually it's just gas money. You know, I buy the meal to go that way.
Does the IRS allow you to just estimate? I thought we were required to record reimbursement.
If you're taxing them on it, yes.
If you give them an estimate, which is an allowance, as opposed to a direct reimbursement, you give them an allowance, they have to include it in your W-2 as part of your salary. That's how we do it for everybody in the y'all. That's how we used to do it for y'all. So hers shows up as part of their salary, pays taxes on it. If you give them a direct reimbursement, dollar for dollar, what they turn in, reports anything. They don't take a deduction, you don't have to run it through paper. It's just a direct reimbursement of expense.
Well, I think that's the proper way we should do all of it. That's opinion.
And then it's better for you because you're not taxed on that money. I mean, that's $7,800 of taxable income to you that you can do away with. And it's not a scheme or it's not illegal. What he's saying is, you know, the IRS assumes that you've incurred that expense and you're just simply being reimbursed for that expense, so it's no impact to you. So you
When
can
they pick it up as income, though, Brian, she does get deducted on it.
right, but it's a wash.
But it may wash, it may not. You have to itemize her cost for being washed. It goes on the employee business expense schedule, it's something 2% less than what you get. So for most employees, it's a better deal to
Report your actual and get reimbursed.
Unless they're paying more than you're spending, then you are.
And usually what I do is I have gone over, and that's the reason why I do keep records, because anything over that I did not get reimbursed for, then, you know, I count it as an expense on my income tax. So that's the reason why I keep a little ledger each month. Now, it's not precise. I mean, it's mainly my main law spreads is what I do.
Well, that has been a subject of discussion over the years, and, you know, the trend has been to convert these fixed automobile allowances over into claiming actual mileage. You know, yes, it is more burdensome, but I've learned to adjust. That way you know you get paid for everything as long as you're willing to keep up with the miles. So, would you be willing to do that?
I would be willing, I would prefer not to. It's just one more report that we stand in office doing a report.
All right. Guys, any input here?
Of course, all the other, it's remained as all the other budget items, I believe, have remained the same for years. We've never, I don't think we've asked, I know we haven't ever asked for an increase in anything the 5 years I've been here. So, and I know like the budget, the meeting room and all that, we never asked for a number of years.
That's over on 22.
We do have a meeting. No changes in the meeting.
Okay.
Are we going to try to do the roof this fiscal year and then next year?
That's going to be over here on page 22.
Do
Well, all right. Unless we're going to make it a mandate that all departments are now required to report actual mileage, I think that this is a reasonable level of mileage here. I would support, you know, a $6,500 budget item here. Keep her from having to report the actual miles if that's what you'd like to do. But I'd base that on your 12,000 estimate plus a little bit extra. That puts it at 6,500.
Okay. That would be great.
I don't know how we determine what the other position is. Is that other position going to be more mileage, the ag position?
Shouldn't be. Like I said, we are an equal position, and we.
Theoretically, your mileage should be consistent, should be about the same.
You might be able to do 6 and 6, you can do 12, or you can do 65 and 65.
Let's do that, and I would encourage you to maybe continue to keep an eye on your actual mileage and be sure we're adequately treating you.
Okay.
Let's do that. 65 times 2. So that makes it a little bit of an increase, $1,000 increase. And let's, even though we really don't have any idea when the position will be filled, what would you think would be the very earliest it could possibly be filled if they start hiring in September? First of the year, October, November?
First of the year, realistically. We have very strong master gardeners, and they're really pushing it, so they've talked to our boss, and so they're pushing it. Now that the freeze has been lifted.
Okay, well, there's no impact there, so we're not going to, let's just leave it the same there then. Anything else?
Employees get a raise, we want Jennifer to have in mind for Jennifer, our secretary.
Let me, could I clarify the allowance? In other words, that's just a salary. And then we take out income tax, we take out Social Security, the taxpayers have to match that. And then if we don't use it, we don't hire this guy or whatever it is, I guess it just gets that much money every month. So the taxpayers are just on the hook for, actually, I think it's really wrong not to put reimbursement. I realize it's cumbersome, but it's not that much, and I think it's a fraud to us to charge the taxpayers and just give people extra salaries. We had $133,000 of these allowances 4 or 5 years ago when I come in here a year, extra payroll. The taxpayers have to match that with Social Security and Medicare, and of course the employee has to do that. It's nothing but salary. And for us to put allowances, like the judge says, is nothing but just an absolute way to keep the public from knowing how much money we're spending salary-wise or whatever, what the county employees are making, or state employees in your case. I think it's wrong.
You know, when the position's not being filled, the money's not being, okay. I mean, it's not going anywhere, it's just in the budget.
It just keeps us jump the budget up and down. Whatever money's not spent, it will stay in.
Well, Commissioner Riddle is correct. You do pay, the county does pay some payroll tax on that amount. I don't think that it skews our budget. I mean, whether you spend the amount as actual reimbursement or whether you spend it as a portion of their payroll, you know, the expense is roughly the same with the exception of some added payroll tax on there. So, I mean, that is a point to note. And
It's not the same. What if a guy's off sick for a month? What if we have an illness? We still get the check. We still pay him. We still take out taxes.
Right.
If they don't use all the money in the allowance there, we're still going to give them X amount of dollars a month. It's absolutely non-transparent. And I think it's the wrong way to do business. It's the wrong way the county to do business because we can get away with it. You can't do it in normal business. Taxpayers can't do this. So I don't think it's fair, and I think we should get rid of all those allowances.
all right. Thank you, Luann.
All right. Thank you all so much, I appreciate it.
All right, we're running behind. We got to catch up here. Sergeant Roney, Sergeant Drummond, welcome today.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is page 38 and 40.
No changes are needed here, is that right? What page do you say, Carl? I'm sorry.
38 and 40. 38 highway patrol, 40 is the
How are our way stations doing? The changes that we implemented a year or so ago, are they achieving our objectives? You know, we started mowing the grass out there, we started providing dumpsters, we started an effort to minimize the rodents. Have we achieved that objective?
We have.
Good, all right. Anything else we need to do out there to make those working conditions tolerable? We replaced an air conditioner, I think, here recently in South Side. And we replaced it though, right? Anything we need to know here?
That I'm aware of, here is one bid.
And I think, I can't remember where I got this from. Well, wasn't we able, or the state, didn't we put on some more patrolmen for this area?
We're getting 2 extra guys here in Mount Pleasant area.
Okay.
And they'll be here without all 3 or 4 sections. So we have 2 extra guys that we want to have.
I don't have any questions for you, Commissioners. If y'all have any questions, you can see there on page 38, we provide the Highway Patrol with the secretarial position. And then 2 pages over, you can see the expenses there at the weigh station. We've got water bill, trash pickup, repair and maintenance, which fortunately we're behind budget in our repair and maintenance. No big scale expenditures this year like we had back last year. I don't have any questions here unless you fellas do.
The scales that we fixed on the south side, are they, everything okay and all with them now?
When do y'all, and I know this has been changed up and changed around a little bit, but I know we had, a 70-something hour stop there, or so many hours where,
We had our first year, Gene was always commissioner. Gene Green was third. First was Gene.
Did that go,
Here, same time.
did that go well this year? Good. I know y'all had got a hold of Roger, and he got that cut for you over there.
Yes, sir.
State was a little bit behind on getting those roads cut back.
We was having a hard time seeing traffic on the interstate, it's having a hard time seeing us there for a while.
Yeah.
We came out there one morning and fixed the fourth.
Do y'all plan on having another one of those anytime soon?
We have a road check every year, first week of June, and then once a quarter, we have a Texas thunder operation, which is like our meeting road check. We've been doing that now for 2 years. And Highway Patrol, Commercial Vehicles Force work in concert with multiple counties along the interstate, and do pretty well. Get a lot of unsafe trucks off the road. Remember the last truck check? We arrested 2 truck operators who went off of this field, which was 2 secondary felons, and a whole host of other violations. Like they're running around, staring out. We got about 60 trucks today, those 3 days, we had some 30% of those were out of service.
Well, I think it's very important to have those checks and get those unsafe trucks off the roads, because there's a lot of them out there.
Doing our best, Commissioner.
I know you are.
We got stood up, had that bus wreck on 261 that in the spring. That was on the
state truck.
All right, anyone else? Let these guys go back to work. Thank you. That was easy. Thanks all. Thanks. Okay, Ray, I don't remember if Ray told me, did Ray say he wasn't going to be here? Do you know anything about that?
I've got a section in the back, back, big problem, all that.
He sent me a text. I will send him a text here, but let's go ahead and let Chris go ahead and start, and I'll see if I get any kind of response from Ray. Go ahead, Chris.
I think everything I have is about what I had last year. I asked for on my gas and oil patrol cars. I think I asked for $250 more. Bring that to $1,500 a year for gas, oil, patrol cars. Trying to get $1,250. Looking at my numbers so far, I'm going to be close. I think I'm at about $1,000 or so. So,
I can see that, I'll see that, that's on page 32. Yes, we're on budget 1250 so far,
the only other concern I have is some new legislation that came out for training for, I think y'all know.
Yeah, Paul talked earlier to us about that.
So, right now, it's a 40-hour class, and I'm hoping it's going to be streamlined. Surely it will be. To listen, I don't know, I haven't heard that, but it makes no sense to me why, in my case, a 30-year law enforcement person who's been doing security invaders in the courts would have to go to an additional 40-hour certification class when I've already been doing it. They didn't ask my opinion when they passed the law.
They didn't.
No, I may have missed a phone call, but, I mean, it just makes no sense that the way they have it set up now, we have to re-qualify for our weapons, which we do that every year anyway. So hopefully somebody maybe will have some sense in Austin with our
Well,
commissioner.
has that law gone into effect?
My understanding is getting signed by the governor, so it will go into effect. I did see the text of the bill, and it passed the House and the Senate, and set to be signed by the governor. And I hadn't seen it, but I was told by someone that the governor did sign it. So I know TICO, which is over our training and education and whatnot, they're going to be responsible for coming up with the curriculum to fulfill this law. Right now, currently, the only thing they have is a 40-hour training. I looked up there and tried, and all they had was a 40-hour training curriculum. So, but
That requires physically going to Austin, right?
well, I don't know. I mean, it's going to
They
be.
haven't said yet.
It's going to be put out to different training providers, and hopefully, maybe eventually they'll get it out here. But we'll have 1 year to get it, or we won't be eligible to come in and pay for it.
Is that what it says, or it just says?
It says that an officer that doesn't have his certification is not allowed to perform security or pay. You have to learn.
Well, we'll just have to deal with that training when the time comes.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, I'm hoping that they'll streamline some of it.
close, hopefully we won't have to. Because
They're gonna have to come up with an alternate.
Have to send 20 officers off somewhere to.
No, they're not gonna do that.
I mean, we gotta do it. I mean, there's nowhere around.
Well, you're gonna have a significant portion of the bailiffs in this state not going to that. That's what's gonna happen, and they're gonna continue to bailiff.
It's gonna open the counties up for maybe a lawsuit or something happens in Florida. Especially when the law came down, you must have to. So other than that, I think everything else is right now.
Additional gas and oil expense.
What,
I can take that out of the other expense we've never spent on. Actually, miscellaneous costs.
Well, that, you know, I think a couple of years ago, we had some vehicle expenses.
And like sometimes.
This year, you always got
Ones, your ammunition and stuff like that, comes out every year.
Brian?
I mean, $250.
It says right there that it takes effect September 1, 2017.
what is that gas and oil for? Is that for the,
To run the patrol cars, the gasoline for them, for oil changes, a little bit of minor maintenance, wiper blades and things.
You got 2 of those, right?
It's for reserves.
we got more than 2. You have 2 cars? And Ray has 2? That's all?
We'll take more.
And you try to get that hand down for the service.
Yeah, we did, I got a car this year, the one I had the year before.
Yeah.
The engine went out on it. This one has 147,000 miles on it. So it's a free car passed down generously from y'all and the department. We still utilize it. We do when they're not serving, helping serve warrants and wherever. We do extra patrols. We have a lot of break-ins and stuff in the southeastern part of the county a while back. So we've been doing some extra patrol in Eastwood Hills and Chapel Hill areas and when they're out and about, just to let the public see that we're out there. And most of our break-ins happen during the day, so maybe we run across, come across them. I know the public is appreciative. I get calls all the time about, what are y'all doing in our neighborhood? Is something wrong? I think we're just in extra patrol. Thank you very much. It's a really good tool, and it's an asset to the county. And we're out here working, they are free, pretty much, we buy some uniforms and things like that, as far as the time doing. I'm carrying Lisa and Jewel, but that was raising.
All right, y'all have any questions for Chris? No changes expected in your deputies, your volunteers?
No changes.
No personnel changes anticipated?
Always, if a good one comes along, we may add another.
But I was asking, nobody's retiring that you know of?
There's been talk, which I hope he doesn't, every time. He's talked about possibility, I just ignored him every time he said it. He's a good one, but he's talked about it, and
He's going to retire.
I don't have anything else. Anyone else does? Now's your time.
Well, I know one thing I do appreciate the reserves, and I know everybody up here does, because I see them out in your precinct and precinct and everything, they're out there. And it really makes a difference when they're out there patrolling and doing things.
presence out there.
And a lot of people do not realize they work free of charge. They're volunteer.
Thanks, Chris. And Ray was having back injections today. He did tell me, and I forgot about that, but he did not have any changes to his budget there. You've got a copy of that in front of you. He did, well, I take that back. He did have a slight increase on his gas and oil as well, up $250. All right, that's our two constables. Chrissy's not quite here yet. Nobody else is here yet. What department are you in?
Overseer, come on. Morning.
Good morning. Well, Chrissy ought to be walking in the door any second here. You brought up the roof at the annex, yeah. Have you gotten any feel yet for what that's going to cost? It seems like you had a figure and I forgot what it was.
No, on the
Replacing, is it replacing the screws?
no, we don't have. The rock that's falling off,
No, on the annex, not this annex, the
ag
agricultural
building.
extension office.
No, we had about, well, I think Jacob Hefner said about $2,300 or $3,000. I think that we still have one leak, and we look again. This is something that don't need to be, have to be done right around. We have a leak. We've had a lot of leaks, but David's got them all done except one, and we think that yesterday we did it, but some of those bolts are going to have to be replaced and stuff, and Jacob recommended the whole thing, and other people have said that's the way you have to. It's an oversized screw. You have to do it like that. So. But it's something that's got to be done. I think it could be done, and should probably be done in 2018, though.
If we budgeted $2,500, think that'd do it? $3,000?
Yeah, I think, yeah. There's a couple of more people told me they want to come give me a price on it, too. I'm not sure when. I thought one of them would be out this week, but I haven't heard from him.
But we know that Jacob can do it for, on the high end, $3,000.
Yeah.
I don't think we get it done before October.
We probably could.
It's dry, this would be the time to do it.
Yeah, it would be the time.
We got room this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about this roof or what?
No, this is the roof on our agricultural extension office out there on Industrial. We're talking about replacing some of the sheet metal screws in the roof that have lost or dried out their neoprene or rubber washer or whatever's there that's causing some minor roof leaks. I think we fared pretty well, but our in-house guy, David Holmes, has fixed several of the leaks. But the professional roofer says we need to replace these screws throughout the roof, is what Al's talking about.
Yeah, the screws definitely, that's a maintenance situation, that'll work good.
And that synthetic washer under there that's going out.
Well, we'll try to get that done before October.
Yeah, okay.
We've got it on the agenda Monday to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any problem to get it done before October. No problem at all.
How do you call or text or?
I'm gonna have Carolyn, give Chrissy, let me see if I've got the number over there. No. Buzz Chrissy and see if she's out there. Oh, she's out there.
Yeah, I forget sometimes they sit out there and wait for us to call them in.
Really? Hey, Jimmy, you know that guy you said that did the cement? Yeah, no answer on the, I don't know whether I got the number wrong or something. Not a good number or whatever it is.
Okay, I'll look again, see if I can come up with it.
All right, good morning, Chrissy. How are you today?
I'm good, how are y'all?
Good.
189.
Page 189.
It should be. There should be anything else. We've already received the machines, we've done acceptance testing on them, so they're all good to go.
You're ready to pay?
We're ready to pay.
Well, the budget is pretty big.
Well, that price, it seems like that price did come down. Did we reduce the number of machines, or we just got a slightly better price when they re-quoted it?
I think we got a slightly better price, because the number of machines and everything's the same. We didn't change that.
The only question I have, these machines, we do have a paper trail on them, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Yes. I think we need to try to sell the old ones. I think that's gonna be our best option. There's counties that are around us that are still using those. And maybe different entities like cities that are around us and schools that wanna do their own elections. I think I wanna look into trying to do that, see if they wanna buy those from us.
How would you go about that?
Just contact them and tell them that we have this equipment and I know that they still use it. Would they consider, buying that equipment from us? I mean, that's just, to me, the best thing to do is just contact them.
Could you do that in the next month?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I guess we could look at our Auctioneer Express to list something like that, but if you've got specific users that you can contact directly, that would obviously be the best way to go.
Okay.
I don't know how we price that stuff.
I don't know either. I mean, first thing I'll do is contact, right, I was gonna say I'd contact the company we got those equipment from, but we didn't buy the new equipment from them. So I don't see them being very cooperative, but I can contact the company I'm using now and see what they think they're worth. Because I have talked to them about trying to sell them. So I'll do that.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Try to have a decision made by the end of August.
Okay, I can do that.
We could get something. Okay, tell us about any changes on here. You've made a notation of switching the salary part-time. You put the notation permanent. Tell us what you're thinking there.
I really need her more than just seasonal work. She's been working with me through the year with the machines and everything and all the training and everything that we're fixing to start doing within the next month. I'm going to need her all the time instead of just, which part-time is still fine, but I just need her more than just seasonal.
Well, we do hourly pay her $29
Right.
an hour.
And I don't need her any more than that, but I need her
If
seasonal.
she becomes a permanent part-time, she has to go over.
We're already taking the
Yes,
So definitely that's going to change.
that's the only thing.
Well, are you talking about just changing the terminology to permanent, or are you talking about a significant budget increase?
It shouldn't be.
We already had her.
Okay, so nothing's changing then.
She's on here.
Well, I don't know, that's what I'm wondering. Are you talking about going to 12 months out of the year when you say permanent?
Yes, just 12 months out of the year, 29 hours a week is what I need her for.
Well, that's certainly going to be more than we've got budgeted.
That'd be a tremendous increase. All right.
$5,000 or $6,000 more. Well, we're already at 8304, so we're already busting the budget here. And we've still got June, July, and August and September that aren't even reported fully on this report.
It's not part-time. I know. You know, that's not a budget. I mean, that's not a budget. It's not part-time. That's when people 29 hours a week. That's a job. That's a position. That's trying to keep from paying benefits or something. That's not that's not a part-time position.
Definition is you're right, you have to stay in the 30 hours or you have to.
Right.
We have to put them on insurance.
But I understand that. But I don't like the idea we're going to guarantee somebody 29 hours. That's a regular.
They can't go over or in trouble. So that's my concern.
They can work less,
Well,
but
They
they
can
can't
work
work
less,
more.
but they
Wait a
can't
minute.
work more.
Okay, well, I guess I'm saying wrong, but it relates to duties and work and responsibility. You want to say 29 hours a week, that's all. Situations change, part-time, you need part-time people. When you're saying that, you're obligating yourself to it. That's a bad term.
Well, then let's be clear. Are you still going to determine her hours each week and tell her when to work? Or are you going to say, we're going to put you on a fixed amount of a paycheck every 2 weeks? You know, that is a reasonable question.
Yes, I would like to put her on a fixed amount of hours every week, 29 hours every week.
You'll utilize her 12 months out of the year.
Yeah, within the next 2 years, yes, we will utilize her.
What about after the 2018 election?
It might slow down some then. We could probably.
Then you've got, I mean, here you're making a step. I mean, he brings up a good point here. You're making a step of creating now a position that we really didn't think we were going to need, and we're going to turn it into a, $15,000 position. So let's, help us understand this need.
Well, right now we got the new equipment, we're working on it. We have an election in November, and then next year we have the primaries, the city, the schools, the November election. So we're definitely going to be busy next year. I'm going to need her. So, I mean, is there any way we can do it to where I have her for that set amount of time for the next year and then reapproach the subject? If it slows down, I'm definitely going to need her next year though, through the election time.
This next year is going to be a busy
Yes.
year.
Well,
You got your primaries, you got your city elections, you got your college, you got them all.
Right.
Well, it's not okay. Well, it's not, I don't know. This government has been a brand-new world to me the last 4 years, I can tell you that. We don't do a lot of managing. We just, we take the management's a big pain, so we just fix something like 29 hours a week, 12 months a year. That way we don't have to manage. It's a new world to me. I can't believe the way we waste money, but anyway, it's not our money.
Well, if you want to say she can work 3 days a week, that's 24 hours.
Well, you don't know, what about sometimes you'll need people for every day? That's a part-time job. Then you don't need them next month or next week. That's part-time. That's manage it though. You have to manage that. That requires some management. And when we would do the...
And then the hour of months that she works over that, in those particular months, we would have to give her benefits. So if you one is good for
What do you mean,
Well,
benefit?
like, if you only need her off season, and you only need her 3 days a week, but it's over the 29 hours, then we're gonna have to go back and for our office, have to put her on insurance.
No, yeah, that's,
So that's where it's not as painful.
I understand that, but I mean, you got a maximum of 29 hours to work with, to manage, when you're managing your time. So you don't eliminate,
12 months, you have to look at all aspects.
okay, well, you don't eliminate the 29-hour maximum. It just stays the same. I'm not
Well,
saying eliminate that,
You
but
can
I'm,
come up and work her when they're real busy and everything's going on, you work them up to 29 hours a week. If you get a week there, you see you're not gonna need her, you can work her 20 hours or 24 hours.
well,
But you go over 29, then you come under another category.
$8.50 an hour for 29 hours times 2 weeks is $12,818.
It looks like we're gonna hit that probably by the time this budget year is over in that position. If we pretty steadily kept her at 29 hours all year long. And this has even been in an off year.
you know, there's not gonna be times you could use 2 people, 20 hours, or 3 people. There's gotta be situations like that, elections, stuff like that. You use 3 part-timers for,
Actually, for the elections, they use election workers, which shortens the
yeah, I understand that. But getting ready for it, there's gotta be a lot of extra work.
But like he said, it falls under a different category. It falls under election workers.
Because she will work the elections and we'll actually pay her election money, but it will come out of another expense, but I still have to add all of that to her that expense, we have to track that.
I understand.
Do you bring in, will you have a 4th person over there during the crunch time?
No, not that will come out of my budget. It will come out of election expense,
Okay, you never hired this past year more than, what's her name? I'm already forgotten.
Christina.
Christina was the only additional person on your payroll.
We had 2 extra people that helped us the election when the phones were crazy. We had 2 extra people that helped us, but they came out of election expense. It didn't come out of the part-time budget.
Okay. Well, I can see how in an election year, you're probably going to end up utilizing her. I just hate to create a 3rd permanent position at this time that, we continue to fund. And, once you start that, you're never going to go backwards. Now, to give you credit, for those of you that aren't aware of this, under Leonard Rockwell, we did have Leonard plus Keitra. So you had a total there with Chrissy of 3 people in there all the time that were all full-time, right?
If you look back on page, if you look on page 19, you look over 2015 column, top 2 lines, you'll see what the salaries were then.
I mean, we're paying dramatically less money than we were paying back 2 years ago. Well, I'd still like to call this still a part-time position with the understanding we probably need to fund this more this year. For the 17 and 18 year, I think we need to target that 29 hours for the whole year. But going into the 18 and 19 year, I'm not sure that we are going to be able to justify maintaining that 29-hour position. Now, maybe things will change, and maybe we will, but I'm hoping that these new voting machines will provide us some kind of positive impact. But we could always address this next year.
How much less was the voting machines this time? From what we first told?
40,000.
40,000. Okay, that's a big savings.
The budget 350, maybe 310.
Do you see anything that'll harm you if we do that?
No, I think that sounds good to me.
You okay with that?
What, just,
Not creating a permanent third position, increasing the budget to give her a solid 29-hour person for this entire year, seeing as how it is an election year, but leaving that as a part-time position.
I think that's right. If there's any left over, it goes back into the general fund. But not a requirement to spend it all, but that's the way I,
But let's increase it to that.
I got 12,818, and that's also going to increase my
Yeah.
social security and my retirement. The other thing that I probably tweak a little bit is the election program, budget 30,000. This year, and we'll hope that we're not spending any money, we're not going to have an election between now and October 1st. But we did go over and with all the elections that may come up next year, maybe I'm going to use 33,000, instead of 30,000. You know, we won't use it, what we have to use.
Well, this year will, okay, this year will end prior to the general election there in November.
That number should not change between now and October 1.
So what are you thinking about for next year's budget
I
then?
was going to use 33 instead of 30.
Okay. I think that's,
I mean, I really don't have to move that around, because down at the bottom of the election expense, I budget 50,000 a year for election. Obviously, we hear that this year. We do spend close to that in next year. Keep the number here, we use
okay. Pull that mic over closer to you, would you?
yeah.
And tap it and make sure that battery's, well, I had it on.
Don't mind.
Modern technology.
I mean, again, this, you know,
So you're going to, what would you do with election expense? Leave it at 50? Leave it at 50? Increase your salaries of election workers to 33 and increase your part-time salary to the 12,818. All right.
and then that'll also, I mean, there are payroll taxes and stuff, and some of that'll change a little bit too.
When do we owe that software maintenance bill?
I don't know, I think it's once a year.
Yeah, we hadn't paid it yet, but I think we had a pretty good idea of what it was going to be, but I'm sure will you look into that and see when that's due? We want to be sure we get it paid in this budget year before the end of September.
Okay.
$33,000, can I ask you a question?
I didn't hear you. What?
I said, can I ask you a question about the 33,000 increase?
It's not an increase. It's not an increase of 33,000.
$3,000 increase on a $30,000 salary, and that salary per person,
No, that's not salary, that's election workers.
election workers.
Election workers.
The 10% increases and things like that don't really
Yeah,
tell compared to cost of living.
yeah, it's not really an increase, I'm just assuming that because of all the elections you have, and
Right.
800 years, that you may even more election workers. You know, you have to pay like that.
Okay, you're clear?
It's not an increase in, it's just when they use more of it, or they may want more out because of more election.
All right. Anything else? Questions for Chrissy? Have we got, I haven't been over there in the storeroom in a year. Have we got any room over there in the storeroom for anything these days?
Right now, but if I can get rid of those other machines, then it will free up a bunch of space. Because our new equipment is so small, and they brought these racks for them to go on, so they're all stacked up nice and neat. It's wonderful. I mean, y'all really need to come look at it.
There's another reason to get rid of those machines, because we do need to free up some storage space in there. All right, if there's no other questions for Chrissy, thank you for your attendance today.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Try to stay cool.
Judge Dyke? Fine, Shirley. Shirley Q. And quote the judge, "We don't need anything new, but I would appreciate a raise for my employees." Do you need anything used? Will you pull that mic over there right in front of you? Thank you. And tap it to be sure there we go. Okay, you purchased some new computer equipment?
Yeah, this is for my office.
There you go.
Sometimes I don't get a lot of stuff from the office in a year.
You pay that out of this year.
Yeah. And so, everything's good for a while.
Is that all of your computer, all three of you have new or current computer equipment?
There's actually 5 computers, 2 in the front, and then 2 desks and my desk. And then I guess we usually do the computer in the courtroom, things like, that's trouble. It's usually us that fixes it or removes it or whatever. But anyway, printers and, scanners and stuff, we got the whole, everything's pretty much new in the office. I didn't get on this year.
Did you just do that? The new computers and stuff? And you
Yeah.
took the old computers and gave it,
Yeah,
they're what, 2 years old?
yeah, I have no idea.
Now, just to remind y'all, her budget's on page 12. We don't, she paid for all the supplies out of the DVC money, and then she pays for her computers out of her main office. So there's nothing budgeted.
But she does, you do take the old computers and we give them to somebody else where we don't have
Yeah,
to
K-Bro
buy.
passes those down.
They're not falling out computers.
They're good computers.
Yeah, whatever needs to be now.
But after 2 years, you can give them to somebody else and they got a new
It's
computer.
been more than 2 years since I did it.
Usually, you can't use twice as often.
Do you still get the way tickets?
Yeah, but it's not been like it has been.
Well, they've been going to the border most of the year. But that's the reason I know, they told me we had some new DPS officers in the area, because I'm starting to see patrolling where I haven't been able to see it because they've been gone.
Well, our revenue has been really low for almost 2 years, 3 maybe. But I mean, like, unbelievably low. But, they don't write tickets that I can collect, so.
Well, we,
All along, our main revenue is license and legislation, so, whatever fees y'all have with them, y'all need to patch that up, because they're just bringing us.
well, it's my understanding, because they go down to the border, they're down there a week or more.
Well, all troopers go, they
Yeah,
go more.
and I think they're cutting way back on that, and I think they're fixing to eliminate it, which
They
will,
have a whole set of troopers that, gone through training and everything, supposedly that's supposed to give everybody some relief some kind of way, I don't know, but they're still going to go, but I don't think it's much. What I
I do know the troopers I've talked to they really don't care about going down there like they have been, and I think they're about wore out on it. But I do know that we got more troopers, and I see more patrolling now than I used to see, so. Main thing is get those unsafe vehicles off those roads out there, because we got them.
All right. If you have any questions for Paula, ask. Otherwise, let's let her get back to work.
This is not about your budget, but did you get your signs up on your road? Have they been put up yet? New signs on your road by Diamond C out there? Somebody not tore it off and knocked them off.
Signs?
Your road sign, your county road sign.
I haven't seen anything new.
Okay.
The road needs to be fixed, but the worst it's ever been since I lived there. Son of a gun, I don't know what happened.
All righty.
Weeds are up, past 3 cars, I can't see nothing. We have permission. Take care of it. Anything else?
Oh, ma'am, not for me. Thank you.
All right, be patient.
See ya.
Bye-bye. She's in court this morning and told me she would be running late, wanted to reschedule. I just told her to come whenever she got finished. I can, if you want to take a bit of a break here, we've got a break scheduled shortly after, or I can have Cheryl up here probably momentarily. I'll go ahead and get Cheryl up here, let's say 10 minutes from now, and maybe get Judy right behind her. But now the volunteers, they're not here. They're not going to be here till 11:30 though.
Did you see on that west side building on there where they had to redo the electricity and stuff? I was Richard on that, and I told him to talk to him about that. I said, that needs to be fixed. Right.
Okay. Yeah, quick break. We're going to get Cheryl in here.
He's got a guy going to look at it. Of course, I told him I'd watch stuff.
Oh, well, here, yeah, that
door.
I don't know why. Because he can't get a word anyway.
needs to be a door in there.
That's right.
And I know somebody had a Bible in there, you can't get in there. You got to be just so, just a wheelchair.
Absolutely, it needs to be changed, and I'd like to change it, but I don't think, and Richard implied this, he didn't say it, but he said these 2 guys here in town, Parker and Brown, you don't think they're capable of making it. He said, Tyler, I'd like this man to do it. What happened is the Brown guy told me, he said, well, let's put a 3-off door, and you're okay for the width of the door, all this kind of stuff. And I guess if you get real legal, you might be, but I don't think, even if it's not legal, what's right's right, what's wrong's wrong. This is a problem, and
I don't have a problem. I'm gonna tell you, that door's gonna be heavily used now. You need to get a good door.
That's right. Well, I just think we need to get one just like in the back, in the middle, so they can go through it. But I'd like to review that frame, and I don't know if you know that frame. Somebody
Got to get somebody that looks at it.
We have to
That's
get-
a heavy duty frame that's up there now. There may be some stuff there too.
Richard said that stuff around here, nobody knows how to use it and stuff. He said, but And then another thing too, I don't know, all that framework, that office where Judy Cook's office and all that's heavy duty too.
Because it's to that point.
I don't know what it
And
is.
the only way I
I went over there, I couldn't find the office. I thought you were in that back room, and you were in that front room where Judy was at, and I saw the file cabinets over there.
and they,
And I've been going through a lot of stuff and getting rid of a lot of junk that you don't need. You know, you always keep everything.
When I moved up here, you know, down there, just in 4 years, I threw stuff away like crazy. Then I got up here, started trying to sort it out, throwing stuff, much stuff. I throw away as much as I brought. In other words, half of what I brought up here.
I'm actually going through, I go to my office every morning. I spend an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. But I always, I try to cover a fourth of my roads every week. That gets me covering them ever. And I write down if something needs addressing, I write down and give it to Roger. And just say this, put this on your schedule. Do it when you can.
But Roger, you know, that road, I told him yesterday, I said, look, I don't know how you're supposed to do it. I said, but I think the roads, when I got there after a while, because here for years, the roads that are traveling, keep a good eye on them, because some of those roads
Let me tell you something, you gotta take care of those roads that don't have travel. Those people pay taxes too.
I know, but there's only one or two of them down there, but there's 20 up here, you know.
I understand that. I got the same problem.
You got to prioritize, you can't do it all.
That's right. But you got to keep all your roads passed. You don't do nothing else.
Did Jim, you call Jim, was it back there?
No, he said he gonna call me next week, next few days, and he didn't call me at all.
You know, with
Now, let me tell you what, my wife, she got some stuff and put on that plastic over your headlights. And they cleaned it up with those plastic over your headlights on that old truck, and so she polished it off here. So Mr. Hudson Oles, he's got an old pickup truck or something, and he did it with this, and he said it works. And he said, come by and get it. And I come by and get it. He said he called me a couple times. I got it over here. I guess he got it in his way. He said, I got it over here, stop by and get it. He said, it didn't take me 10 minutes.
You get them at the auto parts.
Oh, you got it? Well, now, Lucy got some stuff. It worked, but it didn't work very good, you know what I mean? It was a polish, or she was
Well, that's here's like a brush deal.
That's clear, and
That's right, that's the way mine looks. And he said it worked on his, he did it in less than 10 minutes with this drill. It's got a little buffer in here. Yours, I bet yours is bad too.
That they are. Yeah, they're getting that away. They're not real bad yet, but they're getting that away.
Lisa got some polish and all, and she did it, and they cleaned them some. So Hudson always tells me, I got this thing, Dave, 10 minutes with this, got this drill, and he said there's a pad.
Yeah, it's a
buffing pad.
buffing pad. I hadn't got it. I saw it before, but
If it's easy, Hudson said, I'll have plenty left, I'll let you have it. If it works as easy as he said, said it worked.
I had never tried it, but somebody was telling me about it or something, and said it worked pretty good. That's one thing about them big old headlights. They'll get scratched up, and it makes a difference in seeing it.
Well, I was fixing to order some off the internet. It's pretty cheap if you can order one on the Dodge, so I met Lisa's card. I met my card when I was 1402. It made a lot of difference. Of course, I was so blind, I couldn't see that in front of it. I couldn't tell any difference.
I'm glad you told that. We will, if you're out on the road,
Right, stay away.
we'll stay away from it. You got anything? No, we got to do, got a case laying out Steve's button.
Hey, Cheryl,
cut two. Oh, I cut yesterday. I cut 4 weeks sometime Saturday, Monday. I cut 2, and if they don't bail you, then I cut another day, and then try to bail more.
It's in mine. I bailed one place 21, other at 17, and my place at 19.
About what?
3 small places around the neighborhood, and I got Steve Hall's got 2 of them nowhere faces. He's almost got it done. And I'm
We got a sign for them to go in there.
Full traffic, you know, like they tired. Look at the authority. And I got, rim dusted. Rim was, yeah, where they will.
That should be out at the front. We don't put signs inside there. That's private. No, I have not. I've got my phone cut off. I've got everything cut off.
So, Jerry was saying, he said, I had truckers sitting in front of the
Tell him, call Roger. Just send his number.
I said, what?
Well, I bet you don't have his number. 563-1204.
I went out there and jumped in, I sit up in the shop, get there. And where I stopped it.
Well, we can make signs out for front. We can't make them down in there. That's private property.
Oh, I understand, but I'm gonna say, I just told Mike, he had got this from the
Well, also my phone's been cut out.
I'll listen to the rest.
I gave them Roger's number. Who's the guy that, one guy down there. I gave him number
I'm afraid if I call
This here,
He's right there with the dog longer than.
the rim and the inner rim and the outer rim.
Yeah.
Well, the outer rim is right there. But I said, well, that shouldn't do it. So I'm going to go have a guy break it down.
I would have a problem making a thing that they don't put them up. You can't go in there and do it.
Steve's going to
Like a sign.
Steve even makes signs. Steve even makes signs.
But what's the name going to take the tire off?
I don't know what they're planning on doing.
That's what
I don't know. They're
So
gonna put a
cheap
name,
and keep.
number.
I said, you need to call money and get to that freight.
I kind of look at it like this. You go in a place like that, you need numbers, names. Trying to get to somebody's house that's had heart attack.
That's the same time.
I think
I thought they were in
they do, the entrance there, I guess they're talking about inside, I don't know.
They had them inside.
That's tractor.
I thought they had them all named, I know.
That many on the low wire, we should have done it. I said, well, I'll be covered.
Beasley, John over there at Titus County, or Titus County for Government, he assigns, there has to be a number. We don't get that.
He'd like to go to Vancouver. I'm gonna tell him, I said, you know, the rest of the fire train's more than that. I said, I hate.
All my private road signs,
Massive.
the numbers out of the gate,
I'm not, I don't like
out of the road.
but that bad, can't afford it.
Go down that road.
You can't afford anything.
Any other directions in there, you
Like mine,
have.
it'd been 93,000.
I've always done. But I do have some old signs and stuff
But I told
that
him,
we give them a blank, they go get letters off. We don't use them anymore.
Who could they hire? I mean, what would a community like that, private land, what could they do? Is there a company they could contact?
and I guess that
But you
shop, I think that'd be a little more.
go out here and
Hey, you don't want to tell Joe, I said, well, I just appreciate the help.
You get a street
So
sign.
I spent $15,000 on a damn shredder.
we got a lot of blanks that we don't use anymore that we used years ago. I try to help, aid, and assist anybody I can on digging and emergency use, where you've got to get those signs up. The reason I asked Paul about that because ambulance drivers, sometimes sheriff departments that already know, and that's just in the street like that, go down through, that really needs to be a city. It goes down about 100 yards, 600 the city does. You know, but it's graduate.
getting
And, you know, for their information, put down all the areas so they can vote on it.
it's 60 to 52 years. He said, looked at it, didn't pass, and he said,
Where is this?
that's how much Mark was doing. I said, this tractor said, 860 hours, only that's on tractor. I said, I service it up here every time I come to service. I said, y'all have something to do. I said, most of the tractors got drive train 5 years. I can't believe they didn't, they wouldn't.
Well, I think we're gonna have Monday.
I shut it off, so I took the truck, went on the trailer. It was back and slinging it, it started getting under the glass. So I went on the trailer and the he doesn't have another tractor.
We can do Cheryl, me and you.
Okay, Cheryl,
Okay, Judge.
good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. We've got your request in front of us here, and doesn't look like you've reduced any of your budget.
Was I supposed to reduce? Are we reducing this year?
Well, if you can.
Well, I will tell you that I don't think.
I'm pulling your leg. I would,
Then I'm not going to say.
go ahead.
I'm not sure I'm going to have to order checks before the year ends. You know,
Okay.
I'm trying to get that in, but apparently we haven't used as many checks lately. I still have quite a few. So that would say, you know, I hadn't used that.
So
money.
that'll utilize your remaining, you got a whole bunch of money remaining there in your office expense, and that's where that'll go.
And that's where the majority of that was going, was to I use a lot of envelopes and the checks are the most expensive things I go through.
Okay. Not a lot of flexibility here. Don't need any new computer equipment, office equipment down there that you know of?
I think all mine are in good shape.
Okay. All right. Well,
She did, probably not the office doing this in the last 2 or 3 years.
Do we have any of the other officers or anything that's gonna need computers? Or are we in pretty good shape?
We pay Cabro 20 computers every year. I would like to think what we do.
Because we can't
Okay.
scream our
It's hard for me to keep track of whether we actually got 20 or 50. Take one of this.
What are they trying to do there? Just keep a couple of new ones on hand in case something goes?
He's on anything, he always told us, when we went to that, he said you can buy them cheaper, you bought them, go on. Computers are pretty cheap anyway. I would, just for the office, I'd rather go back to the 5 days a week.
Well, I agree.
10 o'clock, 20, but I have to track that here to make sure he buys them.
Well, I agree.
Well, why should that be hard for him to provide you proof that he bought that? I don't want to deviate from that. I want to continue to,
What does he give you on the track?
Well, he writes it down on their monthly invoice and he makes sure he still does that. And Shelby needs to track that off.
Because we're paying up front, as part of this contract price.
Well, do we need 20 computers every year?
yes, we do.
Yeah, you need to be able to replace.
That's replacing one every 6 years.
Yeah, well, it's not good back then. I don't know, 6 years. I think that's replacing back.
Well, you've got 120 computers.
But we're also getting some from.
You're getting a few.
We have 100.
Well, I know that the district clerk just spent, I think, all her computers this year. And she has technology as well, and she took all hers out of her fund, so it did not touch the 20. So she got that back in her office. And Paula just did it. I think Kay either is
We were originally shooting for a replacement every 5 years, so that may have been taking that into effect, that we were, had a net of 100 computers.
Yeah, in my office, my CPA office, I try to replace them every 3 or 4 years. That's me paying for it myself.
Well, I'm sure K-Bro will
I'm not gonna replace me more often than I have to. You have to every 4 years.
I
But
think
we're doing that.
K-Bro will provide you whatever you want. We just got to ask for it. If they're not giving it to you in the format you need, tell them what you need.
We're fixing to start looking at inventory season, so we'll start looking at that.
Okay. All right. Cheryl, if there's nothing else, thank you very much. Not a lot to discuss there.
You want to go ahead and go over mine?
Yeah, sure.
You can say, other than our $50,000 wage increase.
What page are you on?
60,
I don't know what they done.
16.
16.
Probably have like 5 names on it.
The only thing I was going to tweak, the travel seminars, dues and bonds, so I'm going to go up about $250 total. With 4 of us, instead of 3, travel seminars and dues and bonds, I don't really want to have. I want to change it to $250.
On travel and seminars?
I was going to make travel seminars $3,600, and I was going to make dues and bonds $650.
That's it?
Everything that stays the same, depending on what we do on salaries, we'll do whatever we want. Our salaries go to the district judge.
But your crew is stable at the 3+ you that you've got it right now, and you're not bringing in any part-time during the year?
The only other thing that changed, I don't remember what the audit number was. I've got 29,775, we approved, when we were doing one.
Yeah, it went up a little bit.
So there's a little bit of change there, but I don't know what the number is. I'll put that in.
Okay. Yeah. You haven't seen any of my mileage reimbursements yet. I'm keeping track of it. I just hadn't turned anything in. I'll probably just do it here in the next couple of months. But it's not. Oh, I know. Yeah. But you can go ahead and knock that down from 6,000. I'm anticipating ending up about 4,000 or a little bit less. So bump that down. That'd be the only change I've got.
Oh, also, on yours, I talked to Carl a little bit about it. When you have your county judge state supplement, if there's any excess toward the end of the year, you get yours, and then whatever they calculate, we get extra, but that does not go to you, it just goes, we set up a payable. And so through the years, if we're not sure what we can do with that, well, I pulled the reg on it, and we've got $16,000 in there, and we can spend that money on anything related to the judicial system. So I talked to Carl about that $16,000, we need to be.
Where is that coming from?
It's like your state, how much, 15,000 you get from the state?
No, it's like 19, 20, no, it's more than that. No, it's more than
Whatever
that.
it is.
25.
But at the end of the year, since it started, however they calculate, well, they will give us, it's called an excess supplement, but it does not go toward the county judge's salary. They just give it to us, so we have just been setting it in a payable. And so finally, this is adding up, building up, I need to pull the code and see what we can actually, or call them or something to see what we can spend that money on. And she said, or the code said, anything pertaining to the judicial, either court or.
So what do you use for the attorney?
I mean, I'm not sure the detail like that, but anything
much are we talking about?
16,000.
It's built up over many years?
Since I've been here, since Danny had it.
Might be 1,000.
Yeah, we're looking at the last 20 years, it's been adding, so now there's 16 in there that's just sitting, and
How on earth can that be? I don't understand.
They set aside,
They
the
set
state
aside.
sets aside so much source of where this money's gonna come from, that they're supplementing these judges.
Yeah.
They don't know exactly, kind of like sales tax, I don't know exactly how the sales tax is going to be. Whatever this fee is, the fine, wherever they're getting this money from, they don't know exactly how much it is. If it ends up with extra money in there some years.
It's not a fixed absolute to the penny amount?
and we don't know from year to year.
It's coming from a fine or fee.
Right, and we always, there may be a day that we don't get it, or we get 5 on a year. But there's 16,000 right now that we can take advantage of.
But that's not showing up in here.
No, it's a payable. So I just want to bring that to your attention too, that we
What we'll do is we'll move the payable over to the, court.
for maybe county clerk, because it's judicial part of it, maybe we can offset some expenses. I'll get the more detailed information, but I just.
You're sure it's not mine?
Excuse me?
You're sure it's not mine?
Well, like this year, for example.
I've never heard this before.
Well, and you don't see it. You wouldn't see that. Even when they bring in that, you wouldn't know. But
That's how I vote.
I can put it over against, on page 8, probably against some of those county court expenses or something like that.
And like the 46, is that the
Yeah, 426, that's county court.
But like this year, when Al wanted me to do a little travel expenditure project, and I went through cleaning it up, and like some of your training was judicial, so I paid it out of there and took it out of our general account. So, and also, you'll see on the probate, y'all have a payable in any of your probate schools. I take out probate where it saves in general account as well. So.
Well, the sheriff.
Well, you should hardly have had any travel expense from
And
me.
we don't, but we had the probate this year. I went back and saw, and the county clerk has probate school training.
Yeah.
And we have like 5,000 or 6,000 in there right now, so as long as I have it, we collect that fee every time, so as long as I have it, I'm gonna utilize it as well, so we don't build up a big, amount there.
The sheriff.
And the sheriff, and I have a spreadsheet whenever y'all start talking about travel and trying to know that we're talking about moving it back into each individual office. I have a spreadsheet for each one of y'all that shows how much each office has spent to this today. And then on the front page, I've just done a summary, and I've listed below all the other areas that we can draw money from that's just for specific things. And I put that summary page that I had. If y'all want to go ahead and get it and start looking at it, but I put this together for Al, so I just made y'all a copy too, so you can see what we're running.
Do we have it here?
No, I haven't. I was holding on to it until.
After you get through with Judy, we can get it out.
All right.
We'll wait for the volunteer.
Okay, Judy, thanks for coming over early. We got a little bit ahead. And Kay McNutt's, we skipped over her because she's still in court. Let me, just while you're here, let me go ahead and tell the court about our most recent problem in your office. We had a, what day did that occur? The 30th? The 3rd. Monday before the holiday, we had a ransomware attack on Judy's server that is that server actually owned by True Automation, or do we own it?
County owns it, I think.
But I think, okay, we own it, but they provide it. But anyway, this is a standalone, single-purpose computer server that handles all of her tax collection data related to ad valorem taxes. Has nothing to do with automobiles. And we can give you the long story if you want it, but to make a long story short, it appears that it was Russians, literally, that were doing the hacking and were able to get in on a temporary password that had been set up by True Automation, we believe, many years ago, and had sat idle. And with their sophisticated password decryption programs, they just run password after password till they get a hit. Well, they got a hit, they got access, and they shut down Judy's server. Did they send an email requesting?
Not to us. I don't know if Revelation received one or not. I'm thinking they may have, because they didn't realize who they had affected, you know, our meeting, so.
Okay, well, anyway, they shut down Judy's department, and you figured that out about 1 o'clock on Monday the 3rd.
About the 104.
And so that afternoon, Cabro contacts me, updates me, and of course, they had to figure out, it took them a couple of days to identify what had actually happened. Well, I immediately notified TAC, our insurance coverage. We do have cyber coverage. And that has been turned over to TAC. Cabro was in contact with True Automation. True Automation gave us a bid to basically come over and completely wipe clean that server, rebuild the single-use software, and then bring back Judy's data from our backup files. The good news is we were successful at getting that done for the most part. The bad news is it's about a $3,000 bill, and I don't know how much insurance will cover, and True Automation is not admitting any liability here. It's going to be hard to pin that on them. We'll let our insurance coverage pursue that. But the good news is because of our good backup procedures, we were able to restore Judy's data all but, what is it, like a couple of days?
June 30th, which was Friday, and the guy that restored our system said apparently they had been in there on the 30th too, which I knew that after they got to check it. And then the half a day on the 3rd. So we recovered a lot of that information on payments, but I'm still having to deal with the cash side.
So the receipts during that period of time, Judy is still showing some delinquencies on people that actually have paid. And so when she sends out delinquency notices, she'll get a couple of handfuls of people that'll probably scream and call their office and say, hey, I came in and paid this on the 3rd. And Judy's going to explain to them, well, we had some computer problems that day. We apologize. You know, tell us what you did on that day, and we'll reconcile it to our deposit and correct your records. But, so again, the good news is a potentially catastrophic event being held ransom by, you know, somebody, a hacker from Russia. But because of our backup procedures that we enhanced over the last few years, we were able to restore her fairly quickly. I guess she was down, what, a week? Down for a week. You know, the holiday didn't help us in identifying the problem, and working with True Automation just took a while, but she is back up and running as of last Wednesday. So anyway, we haven't met since all that occurred, and I didn't know enough about it on the 7th when we had our Commissioners Court meeting to tell you what the status was. So there you go.
I don't think it's tell people what happened. Put it in the newspaper.
I don't
You paid your taxes.
suggest that.
Done this.
I've already printed the statements. We did that yesterday. So I was just gonna, it never hurts to mail delinquent statements anyway. I was gonna mail them, and then when people receive them that paid, tell them bring the receipt in so that we can post their payment.
Well, if people start coming in and they're mad at you.
Well, they're gonna be upset.
They're going to be mad any way you look at it.
I mean, and I thought about putting a letter in there saying we had computer problems, but Judge Lynn, I talked about this yesterday, and I said 3,000 statements is 6,500 statements.
6,500 delinquency?
6,535
Delinquent statements?
delinquent statements.
And we guessed that the high number might be.
But you know, dollar, because you know what.
Right, we got the dollar amounts, and we're keeping up with when they, and we've already talked 2 or 3 of them. It's just, throwing things
Right.
out of kilter because June the 30th is not there.
Right. And I'll just take those 2 days.
So we were thinking on the high end, there might have been 50 people paid during that downtime.
And a lot of that was checks too, so.
So they'll be able to figure
And we
that
got
out.
checks
Not
taken
much
care of.
cash. And so to send out an apology letter to 3,000 or now 6,000 people for the benefit of 50 customers seemed ridiculous to me. And I don't think that we need to be any more public than we have to be about, we had Russian hackers, get into our server. That just doesn't sound good, although there was no proprietary, personal, secret information there. That's not an issue. And we were able to get it restored and back up online. So it was an inconvenience for the department there and for the customers that came to pay during that week, but we did recover from that. So that's my response to your suggestion, but if you see it differently, let's discuss it. All right, let's look at Judy's budget, and I don't see anything on here that you're asking for different. Your software maintenance agreement stays the same. Do you pay that software maintenance, what, monthly? Quarterly. Okay, so we got one more quarter's payments to be right. Have you gotten this number for the new year yet? Is that what that is it? There's no change to it?
Currently.
Should be the
It's
same.
probably a year.
Except if
Probably paid the
you've already
month.
paid a whole quarter, I think.
Yeah, this is 2017 summer.
Along with the discussion about that server, and that second page you're looking at here that she's provided you from Harris Govern, that is, are they and True Automation one and the same?
Yes, they are.
And they apparently have contacted you about time to replace your server, or have they?
Our battery backup is getting bad, and Renee actually called them checking on that, and whoever she talked to said something about some of our software and things needed updated, which they might have gotten updated with this change, or with what they...
Software or hardware?
Well, she said software. I haven't gotten anything from them on what they're even relating to. I mean, all we needed was the battery. And so I don't know that it's, she said software.
I thought Sean told me that they had mentioned
They
hardware.
may have, but Renee told me software, so. And I haven't heard anything from them on, they're supposed to send me a quote on what it would cost to do whatever they felt necessary.
Well, that server is now 8 years old, 9 years old, is that right?
2009.
But they haven't been pressuring you to swap it out. Well, that's
No,
good.
they haven't.
Maybe we can go another year then.
I hope so.
All right.
On your records and stuff, we do backups every day, right?
Yes, sir. And they're good backups. If they hadn't been good, we wouldn't have came out as good as we did this time.
Although those backups of this machine are done with the old-fashioned tape drives. And in my discussions with K-Bro, it would be nice if we could bring those into the same daily backup that's just done over the internet rather than having to manually plug in, unplug, and transport those tapes.
What would it cost to do that?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be a big expense. What he was just saying was, let me know if you all decide to replace that server, as he thought True Automation was encouraging us to do. And he said that would be a good time to change that method of backup. If I tell them it doesn't look like we're going to need to replace that, let's pursue changing that form of backup, then they will do that. I don't think that'll be a big
That
expense.
server's 9 years old, you got to replace it pretty soon. How much does that server cost?
Oh, no, yes, Seth was an officer, they did some things, and he said David also did the server, which would probably be a little less money, but he didn't know if True Automation would want that.
Anytime you've had a problem, they're gonna be blaming you for your
Correct.
IT department and your hardware.
Right, and like with this issue, it all went back to their end.
Well, it didn't. We got stuck with the bill.
Well, I'm saying, the incident of the hacking and all that. But, yeah, we didn't discuss the bill, but.
So it's $5,000?
No. No, it's quite a bit more than that.
I think that's what we got.
Oh, you're talking server.
Who's doing this?
$10,000 server?
True Automation.
True Automation, he would provide it.
Well, he's asking me a separate question. True Automation billed us right at $3,000 to rebuild the software and the data on that server that we lost. That's what I turned over and reported to TAC for insurance claim. I don't know what kind of deductible we have on that. And if they want to pursue True Automation and say, hey, it was your fault, then they can do that.
They should pay $2,000. When I had my stuff, so I was
What stuff? Personal stuff or?
trucks.
Well, that cyber policy is kind of unique, so I don't know.
Okay, well, it may be different, I'm just saying, we have $1,000, they sold like $30,000.
On this may be a different policy.
But we got an old the insurance company.
Okay, Judy, anything else?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Judy. You'll keep us, if any time in the next couple of months, if you get contacted by them and say, hey, you have to replace that server, will you be sure to let me know?
Or even if you don't, ask them what they think the service will cost, so I can have an idea.
Okay. Well, I could contact them back and ask them if they have came up with a figure on replacement.
Now, before you even make them aware of that, you might ask Sean or Seth, hey, were you told by somebody at True Automation that we needed to replace this server? I would think they'd be contacting you to make that sale.
They should.
So maybe it's not as urgent as Seth thought it was.
Well, it probably is, or they would have already gotten me an estimate on it anyway, so.
Okay.
I don't know. There's been too much going on since then. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jude. All right, let's back up and bring back Judge McNutt's record. Did you have a good day in court?
I'm not through yet, but we have recess.
Okay.
Busy.
Well, I don't even see any changes on your budget. Anything we need to know about other than your request for some additional compensation?
No, everything seems to be good. I just bought new computers, but I had money for that. Bought the.
Have all of your computers been replaced this year?
I think my two at the front haven't, but I have the others, and I bought the extra laptop, put it in jail. So we're in good shape right now.
I don't know what else to discuss.
That's a good thing. Somebody has some questions? Got any questions? All right.
Building, everything okay over there? Anything needs addressing?
I don't think so, it's pretty good, except the carpet. The carpet that they put in has not lasted at all.
That 4 years ago job we did.
There's a big seam in front of my desk, and I called them
4 or 5 times, and they come down there and clip it, and so it still has a big seam. So I gave up on it. It's where they pieced it, and they said, it's just a runner. Yeah, sure is. No, it's about that wide.
It's not separated, it's just an ugly seam.
Well, it will separate. I mean, it just keeps unraveling
It's just in your office.
right in front of my desk.
That looks real good, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. Looks real comfy. But I called them, they'll come down there, but they take their scissors and said, all you have to do is clip it. No, it's a big runner across there.
Well, maybe scoot your desk up.
Well, if I do that, then
You
the
try.
laptop, that's a typical man answer.
Sweep on the floor.
Nothing will reach to the cords. And about that, but I thought, this is not right. They should have redone it when I asked them. So, I don't know what you want to do with that, but I haven't been happy with that carpet at all, as far as that. And in the hallway, where it's got a seam, same thing.
The hallway and the
Going
Break
from my
room area.
office out to the break room.
It's just pulling apart? Who do we get the carpet from?
Shoot, ain't no way. I promise
Well,
you,
what did
every
they
time,
say?
we'll just clip it.
What'd they say?
We'll just clip it. I'm like,
Well, they need to fix it.
I said, don't you think it needs to be reseamed or something? No. Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Y'all are welcome to come down and check it out.
I do need to look at it next time I'm over there.
Okay, thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
Sorry I missed
Thank you,
my
Kay.
time.
Sorry.
Don't work too hard.
I don't know if there's anybody from the volunteer department out
I
there.
don't know.
Letter got in before then.
Who did you talk to?
I saw them.
Who did you talk to?
The fire department?
Yeah.
I seen somebody,
Well, somebody was speaking in the window here, I just wondered who it
Yeah,
was.
somebody was peeping in the window there.
While we're waiting on them, you can talk about, we'll move the travel.
Thank you, man.
We used to do the travel, I think I told y'all all this before, and somebody might be here, I don't know if you remember that, but we used to do the travel in each department. We stopped doing it about 15 years ago. Because the county clerk, when you put it in their department budgets, and they don't have to come to you to get it approved. You've already approved it to get the year. As long as they don't spend more money than is in their budget, they have the right to spend money in their budget. And we had a problem with the county clerk at that time spending the money inappropriately, so the court at that time said, we'll just take that all back in, put it in one place, and every time you want to go, you'll have to come ask us. So,
well, I can't,
that only has happened at one time. That is why we did it, that's why we changed the way we did it. I don't know that you would have any problem with any departments if you did it. But if you put the money in their budgets, it's just like when they buy office supplies. They don't come up here and ask you. You have to approve the bill, but they're not going to come up here and ask you before they buy office supplies, can I buy some office supplies?
well, it's like a lot of other things with me, and especially 4 years ago, somebody, you don't know what you're okaying, what you're voting on. I mean, you can, and it's a foreign thing, but the person, to me, it'd be a lot better if it was in the budget and they, we only go to required schools and you budget it, and it's part of your job.
That's fine, and it would certainly save a little time in court, because y'all wouldn't have to go in. Like I said, you're voting on something that you can ask them the questions, is this required or not required? But, the people, the elected officials that are supposed to be, and you can go back and put it in the departments, and if you happen to have a problem, if we have a problem, we'll look at it again. But that's up to y'all, which way you want to do it. That shows you all, it also is a little easier to track how much money we're spending in each department. It's hard to do, it's all money.
Yeah, but in some departments, you get paid for, like, for example, the judge, judicial or whatever, somebody pays for rooms, mileage and all that type of stuff. Now, the only time I've ever, 30 years, I get my 16 hours at school, period. And then 4 years ago, we started having this little deal out here at the county extension office.
Well,
You
the
get
travel
6
always
hours.
stayed in my budget because my budget technically is a judicial budget, so I keep all my budgets together, so my travel is not in there. I've been reporting to somebody else does. We can go back to where everybody's traveling.
What are the pros and cons of doing that? Is that a lot more bookkeeping effort?
No, the only con is that if somebody's abusive, the only way we're gonna find out is if somebody tells us. I'm not gonna know which.
I mean, we're requesting receipts from
Yeah, but
hotels, but
we
they
get
still
that.
go to train, go to the hotel and not go to school. I mean, we can't.
Yeah, or they might go to a training that you didn't think was necessary.
Same thing now. Same way now, the cons, you don't know.
Well, I will say this, there hasn't been any, since 2006, there's never been one denied. Now, maybe they're not turning them in because they know it will be frivolous and you might question it, but.
You mean that didn't come through court for approval?
Right.
Yeah,
As long as it's come to court for-
Right, but I mean, when they approved,
But the fact that they got to bring it to you might keep them from bringing one that they thought you wouldn't approve.
And also, you better give them so much for their travel training, they may look a little closer to say, hey, do I really need this to stay within the
that's the,
allocation that you gave them too, so.
and I can,
The reason we disapproved that one, because they went down there a day before and stayed a day longer.
Well, I think they also carry somebody with them.
Yeah, I think. But now, there are people that take their spouses, so I mean, we're not gonna go.
No, but I think this was.
Yeah, it's like a different, unique.
Different room, or it was, we're not sure they went to school.
Well, yeah.
Little vacation.
I-
2-day vacation. Well, it'd probably be more, it would certainly be easier for the public to follow it if you put it back in the department. Because they know what the sheriff's spending, they know what the county clerk's spending. This way, they just know what the county's spending, they don't. We don't give you that detailed report there, you're not gonna remember how much has been spent by each department.
And that's why, even when you approve it, that's why on the back sheet, you just kind of put a little description of what the conference was, because y'all aren't gonna remember where they've been throughout the years, so.
Well, I know commissioners, everybody's all we, when you go off these conference meetings and stuff like this, we're all there.
The only thing you would say about our office is we would not have to do all those forms, and Mr. Ross wants us to do the forms, but we don't have to gather all that up, have y'all look at, if y'all still want to do that, that's whatever, but that would kind of cut out a little bit of our.
Point and all that.
Yeah, we're going to do that, will save us some,
Budgets, it's there. Now, I do look at every bill. And if I can take a bill that I didn't think was appropriate, and I'm not going to sign off on it. Same thing with sheriff, we both have to sign off on it before we pay. So they ran a bill for a trip to San Antonio, and I wasn't comfortable with what they said they went down there to do. And I mean, I'm not going to pay the bill, Brian, official or whatever. Every bill that you use.
If I went down there 2 or 3 days ahead before it started, that'd be a little questionable, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
I looked through here and there's quite a few in a couple of these departments.
The sheriff's department has probably. That's going to be over the people. That's our job.
Fire department, we got anybody from the fire department?
Yeah, they're not supposed to be here till 11:30.
Are we going to use this in your life? We leave this stuff here? I think
It'll be locked up, but I don't imagine anybody would put their hands on it. If you want to set it in there in my office on your own little, in your own little area, it'd be safer. Do y'all have an opinion on whether you'd like to see these travel numbers put into the individual department budgets versus lumped into a big giant travel bucket?
I'd like to see them in the departments.
I think that makes more sense. That means they'll have to set their budget based on that, but that'll give you an opportunity to ask them, hey, you know, is all this mandatory? Which ones are important?
But we
Which
could
ones?
email everybody or somebody and say, you work out what you think your next year's travel, they pretty much know the routine, you know, conferences they usually go to.
Let's do that.
Would you like me to email them or?
Yes, please, if you would. Just say we're changing this and we need you to come up with a budget item for this.
I may do that in email.
Now, you're gonna have certain years, you're gonna have to adjust that, especially a new commissioner, because you gotta go to all that training and all that
Right,
stuff.
if you look on Dana's, his is a lot more than y'all's because he went to a new commissioners. He's not gonna have that next year, but you may
That's right.
have whoever takes your place.
But I'm just saying, y'all need to be, we need to be, remember that.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah, I made note of that.
Okay.
Just wanted to let you know that, but it'll be done.
But I think every bit of that, these new commissioners that's coming in, I think it's really good that they go to those meetings like that. It helps them inform them a lot.
Before the firefighters get here, I think one of the subjects that I'd like some discussion on is we've obviously made a huge increase in our commitment to fire protection. It's going to be a major consideration for tax rate increase. With that, what is your feelings on continuing to give run money to the volunteers, if you're considering any changes there? But if you look through these volunteer budgets, that's the only those are the main expenses there. You've got the fixed money, you've got the run money. And is there any justification for an increase for a decrease in run money? I don't think we can justify increasing it, but if you have any thoughts on reducing run money since you are making such a large increase to the city.
Well, we don't pay we pay the city a flat fee. It's the volunteer fire departments that we paid a lot of money to, right?
Yeah.
That's paying a lot of money too.
Sir,
Okay.
They're paying a lot of money too.
the cities?
No, volunteers.
We paid them for 4 people. I don't think we should have to pay for.
Well, I don't either.
We pay flat amount to each volunteer department, plus we pay them money. We pay them both big.
And it fluctuates from month to month, what?
That's right, you never know what it's gonna be. Our budget, what I estimate it's gonna be for the year. Back on the city's side, on 23, what's that number gonna be for this year? For coming year?
We've added $360,000 to what it was.
Okay.
But only 180 from that date until the end of this year, right? Till September 30th?
Right.
Well, but once the new budget year starts, we'll be paying them the full total amount.
Right.
On a monthly basis.
Right.
So an additional $15,000 a month beginning in the new budget year.
Yeah, right. That was.
Can I ask a question?
I'm sorry, not 15.
No.
In just a second.
It's gonna be 30,000 on top.
30,000 would be the 360.
They're gonna send me a sheet so I can know what the total number is.
Okay, Buffalo, what?
What is the basis for the reason for that kind of increase in city fire department?
What is the basis of it? You didn't come to any of those meetings?
I wasn't here for those.
You should have
The
come.
basis is additional services increasing from the city to the county, providing fire protection services, and our inability to maintain an adequate number of volunteer firefighters to adequately meet the need for structural fires primarily, as well as automobile wrecks. And this has been an ongoing subject since the mid-'80s, is what's the appropriate amount to compensate the city for city providing county with fire protection services. And the consultant that was hired jointly by the city and the county, was that 2 years ago or last year? I guess that was last year. Their recommendation that we continue to work together and that the city continue to provide services to the county as opposed to the county breaking loose from the city and providing our own fire department. And they provided facts and figures showing how many runs the city was making into the county to provide that. And so that was where they originally had requested an additional $720,000 a year, and we settled in on half that, $360,000 increase over our current roughly $500,000. So now we're about at $860 per year. But there's plenty of good video if you'd like to watch a few hours of that.
Well, I'm aware I used to come out and work there on a lot of stuff that they do. So, the only thing is I don't really have a real good thought process as far as the confidence of some of the people in the city, but that's all right. I'm not sure that it really does type of that. I'm considering what I do.
Well, it was a lengthy discussion, and these guys up here put in a bunch of hours discussing that subject, and we can only hope that we've made the right decision on that.
All right, that's, I just need to get a little clarification.
Okay, I think Chief Clark is here from Sugar Hill. Let's see if he's out here. I think that's what he said. All right, Chief Jerry Clark here to discuss his department, Sugar Hill, with us, and I know we've got hopefully a couple of more. He said Lanny, I know Lanny's coming. I don't know about Lee or Randy Carroll. So Chief, it looks like you're plugging in a $30,000 figure, and my guess is that's going to be for a truck that you got denied last year. You got,
yes, sir.
What's the word we use? You got overruled, or you got bumped.
We volunteered.
You voluntarily gave up your new truck.
Last year we bought the truck for 5-star.
5-star.
Yeah.
We usually buy one a year.
Yeah. And I think some of us were thinking Sugar Hill was due, and I don't remember all the details, but 5-star ended up getting the new truck, so Chief here has put an additional $30,000 there for a truck for his department. And will that cover that expense? Was that enough?
I believe it will. I don't know what the invoice was for 5-star last year.
29, son.
29,426.
I'm pretty sure that'll cover it.
After all of our discussions about fire protection settle down, you feel like everybody's calmed down and everybody's okay with the decisions that were made? Do we still have any issues that are out there?
None that I have heard. We're still having some problems getting volunteers out in the daytime. They're working, they're not available. And until we have more people like myself and my wife, and that's hard to come by. When the folks retire, they just don't think about becoming a volunteer firefighter. So
we've got about 2.5 years left under the current contract, and we certainly will hope that the problem has not gotten worse by then, but my guess is we may be looking at, several retirements since at that time, and
it could be worse. Then again, it could be better. The word I'm hearing and it's not a Titus County issue, it's a United States issue. Chief McRae was at a meeting in San Antonio, I believe last week, and one of the fire chiefs came up to him, and that was a similar combination unit as he, and he says, "What are you guys doing to get volunteers?" And he says, "We're not. It's just everywhere." And it's
but we are. We're trying. We increased run money. We increased advertisement. We increased community awareness. I mean, it's not like we've done nothing. We may not have been successful, but we have attempted to be.
What we are finding is it seems that the millennials are the group that are not volunteering. They're the ones that seem to have their hand out. If I do something, I'm going to be paid for it. But what we're finding is the group coming up behind them is becoming more of what I call my age and younger. They're more inclined to volunteer. They're trying to help. They're doing nursing home duties. So it has been noticed that the group coming up is more of a giving nature. So if there's any hope, I would say in the next 3 to 5 years, we might start seeing that.
Well, let me just ask you, a couple of years ago, we made a commitment in an attempt to attract more volunteers, we increased the run money. Do we need to maintain that?
And we have thought about it, Lanny and I talked about it, and I was hoping he'd be here to concur. What we're finding, and you can go back and look at the sheets, there's not hardly one department that's pulling even half of that amount. And we originally set it up for $5,000 per department. I think the most I've ever pulled was $2,600, and that was 2 years ago when we first started it. So we're not using the full amount. My thought is the people that need it are making the calls. And to take that away, I'm afraid we may lose those that are making the calls. I hate to risk that. But my suggestion is, why don't we lower that can cut it in half. You're currently doing 25,000 a year. Why don't we cut it down to 12.5? Y'all get an extra 12.5 back in your budget. The reason I say that is most on my department.
No, I'm just gonna say that if you don't spend it, it comes back into the general county anyway. I'd rather have,
Yeah, Talco spent 4,200 so far, and Coco's spent 3,000 so far. So a couple of them have, and some of them haven't spent hardly any, but you haven't, and a couple of the others haven't.
So what we're doing,
Two of them have spent close to 5,000.
and I don't draw it, so ours would probably be way up if I drew it, but what we're finding is my volunteers, when they hit the $600 mark, then you have to start claiming it. Under 600, you don't. And mine are saying, I don't want to mess with the taxes, so I get the 600, cut me off.
and I've had some people tell me that when I make 600, y'all keep the rest of it. But that'll pay for my gas.
So that was my thought, and if they, once they get to the 2,500, shut it down, and I just don't think you're going to find too many departments going over that. I think Cookville, like you said,
Well, but that money is not fixed money that we're paying whether they work or not. That's money that we're paying if they actually get called out.
Right.
And, you know, it's not that significant of a dollar figure. If you budget it and they don't use it, fine. I mean, yeah, we could cut back on that budget amount, but,
I was just thinking, Lanny and I thought if there's a way that you could use the money somewhere else, that we thought that this would be a place that you could take from us.
I know some, they give that money back to the fire department.
They do. My wife, she gets the check.
The younger ones take the money and buy gas with it, is what they do.
My wife takes her check and buys cleaning supplies and gives it back to the department. So it just depends on the
Depends on
individual.
the person, doesn't it?
But there's some out there that really, truly need it. So I'd hate to lose them because they've been getting it for a couple of years. So I don't know. It's just, the other thing that we get is the $5,000 hose fund, and we definitely use that. That's been a blessing to us. I don't think too many of the departments use the education fund.
It's like, talking, they put it in there, they don't use it, it doesn't cost us anything.
It's nice that it's there. I've got a couple that want to go to school, but there again, when you work during the day, it's hard for them to go to a day school. The other thing that I was going to bring up was, and Carl had mentioned, when I submitted insurance for some trucks. And I think he had a valid point, and I do too, because we submitted to cover 3 trucks that, what were they? One was in the 70s, one was in the 80s. Maybe we ought to finally put a...
The only thing you have to do, is if you're gonna put them on the road, you gotta have liability.
yeah, you got, that's where you're, on these old trucks, I can assure you, that's where the primary expense. If you were to drop the collision coverage, you'd hardly impact our auto policy.
But I just kind of think, and I remember I put a post out on our website this week, and it was our 17th anniversary. And in the picture I showed our 3 original trucks. One had a broke frame, one had a clutch that worked sometimes, worked others, and one didn't have any brakes at all sometimes, and other times it had it. And we were out making calls with these trucks. And
Those trucks need to be gone.
those trucks like that need to be off the county road, because I'm sorry, if one of these trucks hits a civilian out there, they're coming after the fire department first, and they're coming after the county second.
I don't have a problem with an old truck that runs good. I have a problem with a piece of equipment that doesn't work right.
Well, you're gonna be able to get rid of at least one, because you're basically going to do it here. So,
But there's some that are on the rolls, and thank goodness they don't roll very often, but they probably ought to be.
Probably in the last 20 years, we've bought every department at least. a lot of.
Oh, more than that.
Well, we buy one a year, and there's 5 departments, that means every 5 years you'll get one. So 15 years you'll get 3. If there were 5 departments.
For the most part, our trucks are in pretty good shape. We have a couple out there that,
I checked with some other volunteer fire departments in other counties and stuff. We are the best, I'm telling you. We have got the best.
but I was just brought that up, looking down the road, that maybe there's something we might want to do to get the older trucks off the road.
But we, I know at Tri-Lake, probably, but that's in my precinct, that they've done a real good job of recruiting young people. We've got quite a few, 17, 18, 19. You need those younger people. You're exactly right. There's an age group right in there. We're not getting any volunteers like we should. But thank goodness we do. Years ago, we didn't have, you couldn't even get insurance. They'd already told me they'd cancel my insurance because that's too far from the fire department. That's what people don't understand. You're saving a lot of money by having those volunteer fire departments out there. And when they understand that, they understand, hey, it's good to help this fire department. And that's the reason people tell me they want fire protection, period.
I know one of the big excuses we hear on not being a volunteer is the training. But Jimmy can attest to this. I'm sorry, you put somebody out there on the fire line with no training, the liability is great.
There's some out there that do, but I don't want to be out there with them.
Not going to be fighting fires with them. Let me tell you something, how important it is and stuff. My grandson was on the fire department. He volunteered, and he's in the Navy now. And when they were testing people for firefighters, he was petty officer, a firefighter, because of the training he had at the volunteer fire departments. The training. Because they're not going to put you out there unless you know what you're doing. That's the same thing. You don't need to be going out to a house fighting the fire unless you're going to sit over there and give people a glass of water or something. You don't need to be involved in that period.
The same thing for grass fires. You don't know what the conditions are and the wind blowing, and there's so many things you need to know. You and your truck can be a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, we had that state man that was killed out here on that Christmas Day fire. He just made bad judgment. He got in the wrong place and the fire got him. He died a couple of months later because of that. And here again, I know he'd had training, but he made a judgmental mistake there.
And we'd like to thank Christy. She's helped us out an awful lot, especially on the post order. So I just thought to pass along good things and good things happen. But that's about all we've got. I haven't heard of anybody else that was going to come up here today. So.
You don't know if anybody else is coming or not?
I had talked to Landy, and he was going to come, and I thought Randy was coming.
Well, Randy's the only one that's made a significant, request for an increase. He's asking to double his run money.
They have a unique thing in Pelco, and if you've been to their fireworks, that's their unique thing. And a lot of firefighters like to be on their department just because they get to partake in that fireworks. And they put on a really good fireworks display. But they become very visible during that one night of the year, and it draws volunteers to them. I think it's great for them. They seem to have more volunteers right now, I think, than any other department. seriously considering this was my last year, but Dr. Matlin has helped me out greatly, so.
Who? Dr. Mackey.
He's twisted me around and got me feeling pretty good again.
Good. Good for us.
One thing to remember, the $360,000 increase that we're paying the city, it's about 2 cents. You should probably look at it on the tax rate. Now, the good news is, we're going to save some money with this, with the refinancing these bonds, so the interest rate should be lower. The interest rates on the ones we just did last year. Both those, you know, I worked the numbers, I don't know, but you might save a penny on the IRS.
I don't think we're going to realize it this year, though.
I don't think you'll see it until next year, but at some point you might save a penny.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we will, but not this year.
If you look at the 2 cents, if the valuations come in around $2 billion, which is where I expect them to come in.
Have you got anything from
That's
appraisal?
$200,000. Well, she sent us something back in May saying that she didn't expect it to change. But we won't get the actual deal until we get to July 27th or probably next week sometime.
She sent us preliminary numbers and indicated a slight increase.
She'll send us a certified one, I believe, July 27th. And I expect at some point, I don't know when they're going to do this, but at some point they're going to settle this movement deal. We are going to get some money in.
Let me tell you what I've learned this week on that. I was going to tell you at the end here. They have got mediation scheduled they are saying they think it will be by October. Shirley Grant seems to think it could be sooner than that. There's a new set of attorneys with Luminant, and she has seen more progress in the last couple of months than the last year prior to them. She thinks that they are anxious to get this settled. It's non-binding mediation, but mediation would be a lot cheaper process than going to full-blown court. That seems to be what they have done so far, is settle these things in mediation rather than having a jury settlement. That tells me we may be seeing the end in the near future, and you know, if it goes to mediation, I can't imagine that we wouldn't fare considerably better than $50 million. But that's just my opinion, and that's her opinion, but that's the first update I've gotten in months.
That's kind of the assumption I'm going on, right? It's an assumption that we're at 230 or 250, if they're at 50, you meet in the middle. Anything above 50, we're going to get some more money. Because we've only budgeted at 50. So less mediators, I can't imagine if there was a jury trial and take 3%. Unless they get all of their numbers, we're going to get some money if they come anywhere in the middle. If they meet in the middle, and 150, we're going to get taxes on another $100 million. You're going to, at some point, we're going to get some money. We just don't know when.
Yeah, we won't know soon enough to set our budget with that. That would be nice.
So since there's no one disagreeing, we'll get the truck this year?
Well, there's no others. Fact she's here arguing for it.
You must be present to win.
In that case, you win.
And what's your final on, so I can go back and tell everybody on the, you're going to keep the post fund?
I don't see any point in changing it. For the insignificant amount it would produce in savings, let's leave that money there.
Same on the run money, or you go?
That's what I'm talking about, the run money. Yeah.
And keep the, even though no one's using it, keep the training there.
Yeah.
So nothing changes.
Nothing changes. That'd be my suggestion.
Just a new truck.
Should be able to get the new truck. What we have done, and Five Star, their truck is down there right now. It's a Favorite Fire in Winsboro. These folks have been helping us out a lot. They gave Five Star a real good deal. All Five Star had to do is take the cab and chassis down there, and they're pretty much rebuilding them a brand new truck at a real nice price. And I talked to them yesterday, and what we're doing is we're salvaging a lot off our old truck. Our pump is still good, the plumbing is still good, the tank is shot, so they're going to build us a new tank. But they're pretty much going to give us a brand new truck for around $6,000. So you have to wait on them. They're pretty backed up, but they do real good work, and they're a company on the rise, and I'm sure those prices won't last much longer. But while we can get them, we're taking them.
How often do those trucks and equipment have to be certified? How often does the trucks or the pumpers or all that, don't they have to be certified by the state every so often?
The actual 1250 and 1500 pumps, like the fire engines, the big ones, according to ISO, you have to either set up a 1, a 2, or a 3-year schedule. Either you have them inspected every year, like Mount Pleasant does. I think Nortex and Sugar Hills engines are inspected every 2 years. But it's almost $1,000 to have them tested. And they do it down in Lindale. The actual brush trucks that we have, there's nothing on those.
Okay.
It's whether they pump or they don't.
Well, I knew some of it was and some of it wasn't. I wasn't actually sure.
I know both the Trilex trucks go down there, I think, every 2 years.
Yeah, they do.
So, and again, that ISO is really important. If you don't have an ISO rating, you're not saving your district any money in insurance. And if you lose your ISO rating, or if you do something, like ours is a 7, if we did something wrong and they bumped it back to a 9, that's going to cost all the residents in Sugar Hill. We saved them, originally it was 35%. So ISO is pretty important. So those of us who have the ISO rating follow those guidelines pretty close so we can keep that savings. And that's something that y'all can brag about to the taxpayers. We are, it might be a 2-cent boost on the tax for fire, but what we're saving them is far greater than that overall. But I know Chapel Hill School, didn't they saved a great by knowing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but they saved quite a bit of money.
It's a feather in y'all's cap that you can boast about that what we're doing out there.
Insurance people would debate that.
Anything else? Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear your back's better. You may give us another year anyway. Thank you, Chief.
There's nobody else out there, Judge.
Like I said before,
Well, I assume I was stuck in it here.
On this, equipment for this drum roller, we got an invoice for it. I can't remember what we did. We actually approved, drum roller, $84,600.
Yeah, we approved the drum roller, but we haven't approved those others. We tabled the water truck, and we've got the other items on the agenda for Monday.
Do y'all know if you actually have this?
Yes.
Have it, so
Yes.
it's good to pay?
They delivered it at my shop about nearly 2 weeks ago.
They had it at the first job at that culvert that bridge that they put the culvert in out there the other day.
And actually, they're backing off the 6,400 sales tax, so actually it's 78,196.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The 84 included sales tax, so we got a credit memo where they're backing that off, so it's the final thing.
Oh.
It's 78.
Oh, okay.
So when I did the PO, I don't know why they did not go through our process to do the PO, but it's an improved report, I guess that's just. Yeah.
You don't want to go eat, or you want to keep talking about anything? We've gone through everybody on this morning's schedule.
Y'all had, any idea if you want to share a particular property about race or
I couldn't hear.
Talk all about what if you want to give any kind of raise to the employees.
What I think he's talking about is putting his guys on a step program where he establishes a specific rate at a specific position based on a number of years of seniority. And from my understanding, he's discussed this with y'all, but that is going to be a significant increase that will hit this year if we go with him on this step program. So that would be over and above anything that would have to do with a raise.
Did he come up with a figure on the increase for this year? He didn't when I talked to him.
It was 92,000.
Yeah, I was thinking 90,000, but he should, you should have received something in your
I
file
did.
from him, but I don't know if that figure was spelled out or not in there.
Yeah, I got it, but I mean, I didn't know that, I didn't see on it how much it increased.
I don't think
He
that.
gave me, I don't know if he gave y'all, a color-coded position, chemotherapy position, and increasing it by percent, so not what he's going to government up to, and all the differences added to the 92,000. And then I've been working kind of on a worksheet to make some comparable to see, because we were talking about how we need to budget, because we don't know within the year, you know, if you got less than one, and they go up, you know, how often we change their step through the years, so I've been kind of talking about kind of different ways to see.
Yeah, if he had a lieutenant position, he does a step pay deal, and that's what Timothy has 3 years, but he leaves and replaces it with one that's 8 years. But it's the maximum, but if you replace it, you can replace it anywhere in that range.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can work both ways, up or down.
But too, what I've been looking at, because I'm taking by each, like the jailer or the deputies, and I've noticed that, like, when we were talking about doing the max, like, whatever the max is, the salary, well, some of them, the majority of them are never going to, you know, within the next 2 or 3 years, not going to meet that. So I was going to report back to Carl saying, hey, we don't.
Unless that person leaves, you replace it with somebody that's got the years.
Right, but I mean, still, you can see that we won't need to do the max on every position, the way it's, what they actually are working based on employees there now. So I've been kind of working based on that spreadsheet.
That's a lot of money.
And if like somebody on October 1, you know, has the low and then 3 months later they go up a step, well, I've just been budgeting like that whole year for the up the step. You know, during the middle of the year, I'll try to do actual, but Carl may want to just budget for whatever that they will get to by the time fiscal year comes. So that kind of stuff is why I'm talking all that to see. You know.
What percent of
Whatever
it?
he's doing is, give his people $1, it's $90,000, so.
He's maxing out the lieutenants, his chief deputy, his administration, all of those are not going to have a step name. It's just their, and then if you've been a sergeant more than 7 years, that's it. I mean, but y'all should know that, see what this
Yeah, it doesn't affect all positions.
What do you, did you put up, what percentage increase that would be as payroll? 92,000? What? I don't know what the number is.
We've got 60 people, percentage-wise,
Because I was gonna get that told, and I was gonna go back and just see if everybody got different, compare the numbers and see.
That's all right, I thought you might have done that.
Page 34 and 35, this is his salary.
If you look at page 34, you add up the top.
Well, don't include the jail staff in there.
Yeah, I'm talking about the whole salary.
They're doing a step back with the jail too.
You sure?
After 5 years.
$2 million is his payroll, so 90,000.
5%.
How much?
About 4.5%. 90,000, $2 million.
That's yours.
On this side, he gave the employees.
All right, if there's not anything else, we'll close down for the day. We got time. Yeah, that's fine. Y'all want to leave, y'all want to take your paperwork or leave it? I don't know that I'd leave it in here. I think if you want to stick it in my office, that's fine.
Got a long distance to take back.